All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, everyone. Hold on one second. I can hear myself. Let me just mute that. Yeah, there you go. All sorted. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream. I've already got Benji on the show. Benji, how you doing, my man?
I'm
Benji, you
doing
there?
good, man.
I'm here.
You're a bit delayed. Your audio is a bit delayed.
Oh, let me fix that.
Yeah. All right. Whilst Benji gets that sorted, big up to each and every one of you guys. Man, it's been 48 hours since we lost against Liverpool, and honestly, I still can't get over the fact that we got beat by kids, and not just any type of kids. They're academy boys that cost them nothing, and we spent £1 billion to gather our kids. It's a difficult one, man. It's a difficult one to get over, and just makes me think, are we learning? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it looks like Pochettino is not going to go anywhere this season, at least. Next season, we'll see what happens. But are we learning anything? Are the owners learning anything? I mean, the owners, since they've come in, it's just been disastrous. We've not done well under them, and they should be looking at this and truly should be disgusted about where the club is going. They can't just be thinking from a hypothetical point of view, or from a XG or XP point of view that club should be doing better. The reality is it's not doing better. So they shouldn't be happy. The board, are they happy? Are they learning anything? The manager, are they learning anything? Is the backroom stuff along with the manager, are they learning anything? Are the players learning anything? It just makes me wonder, when you fail or when you face adversity, you're meant to learn from them so that you can become better. But I'm not really sure whether that's happening. Benji, my man, how's things, bro?
Yeah. First of all, shout out to the chat. Hopes everyone is doing better than yesterday, at least. I don't know what to say, but it was a tough final.
Bro, your audio is still stuffed up, man.
Damn.
Yeah. What are you on? Are you on your mobile, or how are you connected?
I'm on my computer right now.
Yeah, that's better. Now it's better.
Okay, great.
Yeah, now it's better. Yeah, go on, bro.
Shout out to everyone, first of all. Hope everyone is doing better than yesterday. Or before yesterday, I don't know. I don't even know when the game is.
A couple of days ago.
Yeah, I'm just so tired. Really, I'm just so tired. I've never been this mad in my life watching Chelsea. Not even under Graham Potter. I've never been this mad in a while. Like, I don't know. Like, it was a different feeling. Maybe it was because of the disrespect of just playing academy kids and losing. Maybe it was that. I don't know, but the feeling of losing again, 6 finals in a row at Wembley, I was just so done. And then I got, my guys was texting me because I had some couple of friends that was at the game. When I get, some news from them, I was like, what Pochettino said, and I was, can we just sack him now? And then they say, no, we actually can't sack him because of the financial year. I was like, nah. But Miz, this is enough. Like, are these owners? Don't let me say owners. Are Baghdad Iqbali? Is he actually this delusional? Like, brother, we're actually 11th. Like, we're actually 11th. Like, don't you see what the flip is going on? Like, can't you just pull the plug and just be like, hey, you know what? I screwed up. Let me just go and get maybe not TT. But let me go and get a supreme good manager. Stack these sporting directors and and bring in a top class sporting director, and let's just start over from not from scratch, but let's start over again. Let's do this stuff right.
But I guess that's the issue, isn't it, Benji? That
That's the issue.
they're not willing to. It's almost as if they do that, it's admitting that so far they've got everything wrong. It's Do you think it's ego? Like
So
if they're egotistic, then we're in big trouble. Like they're gonna just continue on until they see that whatever way they're doing things now, if they're egotistic, they'll just want to continue this until it's a success. But the problem is this model has never been a success anywhere else.
anywhere in football, this has never been done. You either win or you don't. This model is for the mid-table
Mm.
teams, like your Fulhams. The Fulham can do this because as long as you finish mid-table and maybe if you can push for the Conference
Yeah,
League, that's good for them.
yeah.
For us, we're a club. Like, come on, have some respect. Like, put some respect on your name. Like, I've, people been, the last calling when I see, yeah, I know basically a lot because I got some friends that know inside details, and I talk to them basically every day. I've
Mm.
been having a lot of people sliding onto my DMs on Twitter and been just asking like, what's going on, and I've been telling them exactly what's going on, and then be like, you're lying, no way, and I'll be like, yeah, trust me. Like, the whole pop situation right now, like I wasn't surprised when he ignored Todd Boehly at the stadium.
Do you reckon he did it purposely?
Miss, come on now. He did it purposely. If I told you this, Mauricio Pochettino is not enjoying his life at Chelsea because Chelsea is not helping him to win.
Hmm.
I can tell you this
Is
much.
this true? Because I've seen Alex Goldberg say this as well, and you're saying that people internally too. Is
Miss,
this really true? Is
this
this
is
really
so
true?
true. I can tell you right now this is true because if you just look at the situation again, just backtrack your memory and look at the situation again. Did we get a striker from Mauricio Pochettino? Did we get one?
No.
Nah. So we instead of real striker, we got Jackson. Maybe Vlahovic would have done something. I don't know because we would have got him for like 40 million. Maybe. Never know, but maybe.
But I think he
Okay.
didn't want Vlahovic. I just wonder who did Pochettino want?
Nah. Pochettino just wanted a proven striker. That's all he wanted. So he wanted Lautaro Martinez. That's who he wanted in the
Ah,
summer.
right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. He
He
did want
wanted Lautaro
Martinez.
Martinez.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
if you go and get Lautaro Martinez, this guy is gonna go for like 130 million because he ain't leaving Inter Milan.
He's into his best player.
Bro, he ain't going nowhere. And on point of that, he's like a false nine. In my eye,
Yeah.
he's like a false nine, can drop deep and all that. So I don't see him as the striker. Vlahovic, that deal was basically you give them Lukaku and we pay and then we pay, I think it was like 40 million euros. So that's like 36, 35 million pounds.
Hmm.
That was the deal for Vlahovic. Poch didn't say no. It was the directors who said no. The
Yeah.
directors said no. That's the real problem.
Before I go to DOF, by the way, big up DOF. Benji, I want to ask you, man, did when Poch had the interview, when he took this job, what was said to him? Like, what was the expectation? Do you know what I'm saying, Benji? Like, when you get a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
job, do you have a conversation? Like, I just recently got a job about 4 months ago, a new company. I
Yeah.
had a full-on conversation with the hiring, recruiters. I had a conversation with the manager who's going to manage me. I had a conversation with the head of that department who manages my manager. I got the full lowdown as exactly what they are doing, what they expect of me, what I expect of them. are they not having this conversation, or like, why? I don't understand. Like, was the expectation just not
No,
correct
there's
from the get go?
everybody is getting this so twisted. Everybody thought like, oh, so we basically got Posh just to get him. Us, I don't know how it's to say, just to get him. No, we didn't. So basically, when Posh got up, appointed. So actually, we were going for what's his name? We were going for Enrique,
Yeah, he
but
was. He did. I think he did the interview, and then he demanded a few things which they just couldn't give to him. Right?
so basically, what Enrique demanded was no one enters the training ground or the dressing room except for me. I want if I want something, I want you to give it to me. So it has to be a little bit of compromise. Enrique had no problem with this youth. He had no problem.
Mm,
But
mm,
he said, if you're gonna bring me youth, then you better bring me some experience too. That's
mm.
why they threw him away and he went to PSG.
Yeah,
Poch
it
said
was. It was. So Enrique basically was his way or no way, basically.
his way or no way. That's basically it. His way or no
Mm,
way. So Poch, what we said to him was, we're gonna give you players like some very, very talented players. Just improve them and get us to European spots. So I don't know what European spots means because my friends didn't actually tell me exactly European spots, but I think they said sixth as the minimum. They will accept seventh.
mm, mm,
But below that, no way. No way.
mm.
So when I look at everything, I can't just blame Poch for everything. Yes, I agree. The
Yeah, yeah, of
football
course.
that we're playing is awful. But if you consider that, okay, the left back, we didn't actually help him in January. We didn't actually help him because we wanted to sell Martin because he's pure profit, but we didn't get a new left back. So that's on us. And Ben Chilwell, can he really play 90 minutes every single game without getting injured? Can we really trust that? I don't know. We'll have to see. We didn't get a striker, and we let Broja go. And Kunku
Yeah.
is not a striker. Palmer
Nah,
is not a
he's not.
striker.
Yeah.
Jackson, he's like a false nine. He's everything but a striker. This guy can play on the right, in the middle, on the left. Like
Mm,
this guy, like he can play as a false nine and maybe have a real batsman, like as a front two. He can play like that. Maybe a Vlahovic or an Osterman beside him. That would benefit him because now he can drop deep and the big and strong striker can just focus in the box. That would
mm.
work for him, but he's everything but a striker. So when I look at everything in place, you need to see whose fault it is. Some blame is for Mauricio Pochettino because we shouldn't be this bad, yes. But when I look at it, why is he playing like this with these players? It's because he didn't get what he wanted in the summer. This guy really wanted a striker that could bag in goals. And I can guarantee you now, miss, if we had Vlahovic, even for half of these games, we would be in a much better position. Not 11th, but at least 8th. Because Vlahovic scores goals. That's what
Yeah.
he does. So I get really, really pissed off when people say, oh, punch this, punch that. Of course, I get it. I get it. It's a pain. But we need to understand the deep root. It's not he is not the problem. He's not the problem. The problem, we have to look higher up because there's no way you can go 2 seasons in a row mediocrity. I cannot accept it. I just can't. So you need to look, okay, what's causing these problems? Same with the injury. What's causing the problem with the injuries? Is it Poch? No, it's not. Because we basically, when you have an injury, previous injury, and you don't
Mm,
rehab 100%, and then you just go 100% in training or in games, of course you're gonna get injured again. So you gotta do static training, you gotta do some yoga, you gotta do some rehabilitation with some ice water. Bro, you gotta do everything. But these players don't. And I remember when Chalobah's trainer basically leaked that these players they don't do static training. They don't do mobility. They don't. They just walk to training, and they after that they just basically walk home. They don't go to the gym to stretch, to have ice water or ice your knees for recovery. No, these players are so lazy. But if you have, the John Terrys inside his team, maybe a Lampard, a Drogba, only those three players, I can guarantee you, everyone is going to the gym after,
Mm.
training sessions. Lampard and Drogba, shooting sessions, at least half an hour, 1 hour after practice. With Terry, you go to the gym, you do some static training. So yeah, you need to look at everything. Is it because the team is too young? Yes. Do we need some leaders? Yes. But is it too late now? Yes. It's really, really too late. Now we must. Now we must let these players grow into the role, especially in midfield with Caicedo, Enzo, and Gallagher. Because Gallagher needs to stay. I'm sorry, but I ain't letting this man go. If Poch goes, you can let him go. As long as Poch is here, we need this man. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk too
Mm.
much, man, because I'm getting very, very angry. DOF, shout out, my man. How you doing?
DOF, my man.
Uh,
As you can see, the title of the show, Chelsea Enter the Dark Ages. I mean, where's your mind space? Where's your space at the moment? Your mind space at the moment? How you feeling about the situation when you really deep it? What, in your opinion, are things that need to improve drastically? Because I feel like DOF, we are seriously entering the dark ages.
100%. 100%. Big up me is big up Benji as always. Thank you. Like this other guy would say, thank you for landing them. I wouldn't use the word he uses, but trust me. Um, wow. I don't even know what. Coincidentally, I'm even wearing black. To be honest, I'm wearing all black. So, I think, I think it does match with this. Means I think everything we've been saying from the last or since the last 18 months, as the case may be, is just what it is. Because I'm lost for words. What I mean, I'm lost for words. Like I really can't find any other word to describe what we're going through. The
Mm.
title of this session has said it all. We have entered. It's not like we're even entering. We are there. We're in the
We're
dark.
there.
We're
we,
there,
we
bro.
have solidified our position.
We are, because again, you might not necessarily rate the guy, but Daco on Twitter has always been quite reliable when it comes to a lot of news. When I saw the managerial shortlist
yeah,
yesterday, or the proposed, let me use that word, proposed managerial
Mm.
shortlist, Thomas Frank,
Thomas Frank.
and I'm like, what was going on? Are we so comfortable with just chasing mediocrity such that we don't care as to what really happens? Do the fans really matter? Like, does the footballing side of things, let me put it that way, does the footballing side of things, does it really matter? Now look at what happened. I don't know how else to explain this. Look at how excited, look at how buzzing, look at how pretty much what's the word again, how elated Jurgen Klopp was
Mm.
with the win with the Carabao Cup. Look at how the fans, the Liverpool fans, were so over the moon
Yeah.
because of a, let's put it quote and unquote, a Mickey Mouse Cup, quote and unquote.
exactly.
Yeah.
Look at how the stadium was buzzing. Now, why am I saying this? If that doesn't communicate anything to Egbali and Todd Boehly, then what will? I really don't get it. What will? That's the okay. We I think a report says Chelsea got 50,000 pounds for being the runners up to Liverpool on Sunday and all that.
How
Well,
much?
maybe
£50,000.
50,000 pounds. That's not even up to.
Good catch.
What's
it-
that? Like lunch money or something?
it's not even up to Malang Sarr's salary per week,
Oh
despite him
man.
not playing. If you get what I mean. So, but the fact that it's a trophy, the fact that it's a
Yeah.
laurel, no matter how little it is, got the fans buzzing, got everywhere lit up with excitement and all that. Having said that, go
100%.
back again to Chelsea Tottenham. I think one of the last games under TT. Look at how buzzing that stadium was when Rhys James scored that goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why am I bringing all of this together? It is clear that they couldn't care less how the fans feel. It is very clear that they couldn't care less what is exactly going on the pitch. Because if they do, they will understand that Thomas Frank should not even be nearing M6, not even
Do,
the road.
do you know what, there? Just on that thought, the fact that Thomas Frank is even in the short list, I just wonder what's the thought process. Let's say us three and the live chat. Let's say all the people in the live chat, nearly 160 of you guys, all of us in the panel, we sit down and we create a short list and we put the name Thomas Frank. What is the thought process that's going through someone's head to pick Thomas Frank? Like, honest question, DOF. Why would our sporting directors think Thomas Frank is a possibility or is a good candidate for Chelsea Football Club? What is the thought process? Can you just break that down for me, man? Because I can't seem to compute that. No disrespect to Thomas Frank. I think he's done a very good job with Brentford to keep them alive for, for whatever many seasons. Then I think it's been 3 seasons, or maybe, yeah, I think maybe 3 seasons since Thomas Frank's brought them up. But what gives them the idea that he can elevate Chelsea back to the top? Like, what's the thought process?
For me, I have a lot of theories in my head. These are just my personal opinions, but I think if we can connect the dots, maybe somehow we could get an inkling as to what exactly is going on. So, since these guys have come in, I think the only time we've had top, how would I put it, top managerial shortlist or top people on the managerial shortlist was when, not even when TT was sacked. I think it was when Potter was sacked. And that was the likes of Nagelsmann,
Enrique.
Enrique,
Yeah.
and co. Right
Yeah.
now, and I think Vivel was still around, right? If I'm correct.
Yep.
Christopher Vivel was around. Now, since Vivel left, right, it's been shambolic in terms of whatever shortlist we're drawing, or whether it's players or whether it's managers. For me, I think it's a reflection of, one, the current sporting directors we've got, in terms of, I keep saying something, and it's a popular saying, you can't give what you don't have. It could be a complex thing. Maybe the sporting directors don't want someone who's going to challenge them in terms of what they're delivering, or in terms of what they are about to do, in terms of what they do. So it could be one of that, because, for example, you can't tell me that a Mourinho is Zidane. Of course, I know Zidane is not coming, but I'm just trying to give you the pedigree of coaches that will not work successfully with these guys, if you get what I mean. So,
Yeah.
in terms of that, I feel like on that part, the sporting directors know that if they go for an elite manager in terms of elite, they could be in trouble, because they will be at loggerheads from time to time. And that could also jeopardize their own role, especially if the fans fall in love with that kind of coach. They are
Yeah.
going to be in for it. That's one logic. That's one theory in my head. Secondly, we all know the popular theory, which is the club wants a yes man or yes men, as the case may be. And then, which now brings us to the point.
Just on that, DOF, just before you go on to your next point, why do you think the club wants a yes man? I need to really understand this. Why is it that they want a yes man? Why?
Yeah.
Why are they
Yeah.
so fixated on getting a yes man?
Exactly. Now, I've worked with. Let me draw an inference. I think Benji wanted to say something, but let me quickly draw an inference from my personal experience. I've worked with a boss in the past that she brought me in because she wanted structure in a company, in a business, in a organization.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she didn't want structure. Now, it sounds conflicting. How do I mean? How do I mean? She wanted structure because she had seen, or she had heard about what I had done in the past with one or two other organizations I'd worked, and she was like, "Oh wow, this guy will give me what I need." But at the same time, she wasn't ready to take her foot off the gas. She just wanted to be in charge wanted to do her things the way she wanted to do the things, but at the same time wanted me to implement the changes that she didn't at the same time want me to implement. What am I trying to say? She had relative knowledge of the field we were in. I've been in the game for about 10 years in that industry, if you get what I mean. Like, okay,
Mm.
let me just break it down. It was an educational sector, right?
Yep.
She had no knowledge about education. So this is someone who had the money, wanted to start a school, started the
Mm.
school, and then brought me in because I had experiences working with several schools and I had grown it to an extent.
Yeah. So
Now
you've got the industry knowledge. You got the industry knowledge. She doesn't.
she doesn't exactly.
Yeah.
She doesn't now, but she has been successful in a different business. So
Mm.
this is someone who's trying to
So she thinks she can run any business because she's
God
been
bless
successful
exactly.
in running businesses. Okay.
Exactly. So she's successful in another business and she feels like because it has worked in that business, it should also work here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a different terrain entirely. Long story short, I brought about the changes, but with so much brick walls, with so much resistance. Because, for example, I'm like, one plus one wouldn't work here. I think it would be four multiplied by two that will work here. But she would insist that it is one plus one that would work.
Ah. So it's basically conflict of of know-how, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
She thinks I know how to run businesses. It's a
100%.
business. I know how to run businesses. But you're saying that you don't know how to run this business though, because this is
Exactly.
This
my
one.
industry.
Exactly. Exactly. So what happened, bro? I didn't last. I could only stay there for close to 2 years. And by the time I was getting to the second year, I had to leave. Now that is not even where I'm headed. It is similar to what is happening at Chelsea, but that's not where I'm headed. Now, since I left, they've brought in, from what I heard, because again, when I was driving in the change, I was allowed to bring in my people that worked with me in the past, my team, who now
Mm.
became the foundation for what is currently ongoing there. They've brought in four different people after me,
Yeah.
and none of them lasted more than 6 months. Why? Because she wanted change. Again, I'm going back. She wanted change, but at the same time, I didn't want it because she was not ready to hands off completely to the
Mm.
person who understands what it takes to drive this. Where am I going to? The owners at Chelsea have been successful in whatever business they've been doing. It is very similar to what I've experienced. That is why it pains me. Now, all they have to do is get a proper sporting director and just a manager and just eliteness in both ways. And then you go back and let them report to you. Leave these guys, let them gel together, and then everything will be fine. But
Yeah.
why are they wanting yes men? They have not trusted the person they've put in charge 100% to deliver. And why is there no trust? Simply because they feel like their success from the previous or whatever business they've been doing in the past can also be translated into football.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it is not possible.
Yeah.
Now they
That
left.
that that makes sense. Go on. Yeah. Go on, Benji.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on what the OF said because exactly what he said, I was basically wanting to explain, a similar situation in my life. But he got everything spot on, like everything spot on. These owners, I can tell you this much, these owners want a yes man because they want to, have, in Swedish you say bolla ut. So in English that means like you want to have free balls, to move around. Like, yeah, can we do this? And you want the manager to say yes, yeah, this could work, and yeah, maybe not. I don't know about that. So you don't want to have that no answer exactly because
Mm.
miss, if you told me, how does it feel if I just say no? It feels like, why are you so harsh? Especially in this, this type of generation we live in right now. Like if you just say no, it's like, wow, why did you say no? Like, can't you say that in a better way? But if you say like, maybe, there's still a chance you can still, change someone's mind if there's a maybe. So
So
that's what's
basically, Benji, what you're saying is these owners, they really want to be hands on, like they want to have their say in everything. Like
yeah,
I just feel like you can still be owners and just look from far and just put the right people in the right places and let them carry on. Why is this need to have full control? Like, why can't you be humble? This is the thing. Why can't you be humble and say, I don't know too much about this industry, let me get the right people that actually know this industry well enough, and let me learn from them. Over the
Yeah.
years, I'll learn from them. Why do they have this feel that, nah, I wanna, it has to be to do with ego, right? Like, lads, at
So
the end of
Hundred
the day, it
percent,
yeah.
has to be
So
100%,
ego.
so
hundred
now it
percent.
comes to, Miz, when you're successful, don't even look at the owners now. Just look at successful people. Even when you talk to successful people, what do they do? Often enough, they brag about how successful they are. Oh, I'm so successful, I've done this and that. I have multiple businesses. They brag. So
Mm,
if you bring someone in to basically manhandle them and just say, hey, you better shut your ass up and you better sit your ass down and let me take care of it, and you just watch the magic what I'm gonna do. How do you feel? You feel like crap. But you'd be like, bro, I have multiple businesses in the US. I have the
mm,
Lakers. I have the LA Dodgers. I'm a multi-millionaire and I'm a billionaire. Who are you to tell me what to do? That's basically how they're feeling. If I'm talking in a Gen Z type of language so everybody can understand,
mm,
this is how they're feeling. They don't want someone to, manhandle them and just be like, nah, you doing this wrong, you doing that wrong. So basically they want to learn. But if they keep on learning with the years, we're gonna be like in championship. So, or maybe not championship, but mid-table every single season. And then we're gonna be in some deep financial trouble. So do we want that? No. So what do we have to do? Can we continue with the young prospect model? Yes, we can. But what do we have to do at the same time? We have to bring in a serious sporting director, or have to keep the same sporting director, but we have to say, hey, you got 6 months to change the whole situation and make this team from decent to at least better and good. Because we need a steer striker, left back, goalkeeper. That's pretty much it. If you want to sell one center back and bring in another one, you can do that. Then I mean, if you want to sell Disasi, bring in another one, that's completely fine. With a little bit more experience, that had done it at the top level. For example, Ramos, he,
mm.
he doesn't have a lot of years left. If you give him a, 2 1-year contract, he'll say no, he'll say yes. I don't know, but that type of profile, that that seen success, that knows what it takes. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm, mm,
will we do it? No, I don't think so yet, because these owners really, really think that this project is on the right way, that just the managers has been underperforming. And then when I tell people who's on the short list, and I'll tell you who's on the short list. By the way, Thomas Frank is not on the short list, but he's looked at. So I just want to clarify that. He's looked at, but it's not on the
mm,
short list. Who's on the short list is Ruben Amorim from Sporting. Very, very good manager, but he's only done it in the Portuguese league. So it's very, very hard to transition that to the Premier League. If we can do it, great. If we can't, then not great. The second guy is the Roberto. That's the second guy. The third guy won't even come to Chelsea. He won't. And that's Unai Emery. Unai Emery would come to Chelsea if we had Champions League. He would. Because now you can give up your position for a better position. That's fine. But do you think Unai Emery want to come to Chelsea when we're 11th? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Nagelsmann won't come to Chelsea. A lot of people have been texting me, oh, well, Nagelsmann come. No, he won't. Because Nagelsmann wanted to come to Chelsea if he could work under Christopher Vivell. That was basically his deal. I want to work with Vivell, no one else. So these other sporting directors, they gotta leave. I want to work with Vivell. I want to bring in my players who I want. So yeah, that was basically his conditions. So when we look at every single manager that we had on the shortlist, last summer, Enrique, Vivell, it was too much for these owners. The simple fact that Nagels wanted to work with Vivell, that was too much. Enrique wanted just some more experience in the squad because like the squad was too young. It's not ready yet. We need the experience so that we can lead. Just so we can finish sixth the first season and then go on to fourth, third, and maybe win the league within 4 years. We never know. But that was also too much, just for a little bit of experience. Now you see with Poch, he wanted to win, but this guy he was baking without any ingredients. So how do you expect him to win when he ain't got no left back because all the left back was basically injured? He didn't trust Madsen because he wanted the height. Understandable, fair enough. He wanted a striker. He didn't get one. He wanted a new goalkeeper. Apparently, he wanted Diogo Costa, but that release clause was too much to trigger. So the owner said no. So when I look at everything about this, it's very very confusing where we're heading right now. For now, the favorite is actually De Zerbi, and then after that is Ruben Amorim.
Do you know what? Like, at the end of the day, for me, I think I'm really deeping this whole situation. This isn't just about a manager anymore. This is about actually about the fundamentals of the owner's vision and their owner's um, direction, or their what they want out of this club, basically. Like, what is their end goal? Like, I want to ask DOF, I want to go to you on this one, right? And we'll see what Benji has to say on the live chat as well. Just quickly, Chelsea and Paris just said the way they work in the USA, they create a model. Once it works, they back off, which explains why they are still hands-on with Chelsea. Clowns. DOF, I just want to start this discussion. These owners, there has to be a reason. All of a sudden, we switched our direction from first season where we were getting linked with Ronaldo's, we were getting linked with more, Aubameyang and all of these kind of players. There was even a time where apparently we were having meetings with Mbappe and whatnot, the marquee, and then all of a sudden the entire conversation switched, and the entire project took a different spin this season. I want to try and deep this. Have the owners sort of looked at football as an industry and have looked at football as a business in this industry, thinking, what's the point of getting experienced players in a team, let's say a 28-year-old or a 29-year-old, giving them 5-year contract, because at the end of the day, very difficult to give them less than 5 years because they want some sort of security as well. Are they looking at this, that what value does a player bring to me when they come to the football club, and by the end of their tenure, it's too difficult to get rid of them because when you're 30 plus, your value is diminished. So are they looking from that perspective that by bringing older players, potentially you spend all that money, all that expenses in wages, that asset, it's like a car, basically, DOF. It's like buying a motor vehicle. It's like a car. When you buy the car from the showroom, straight away the car's lost value, right? And then you have the
100%.
running cost of the car. You have to pay petrol, yeah. And then by the time the car has done 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years, 8 years, the value of that car is literally nothing anymore, right?
100%.
So are they of that concept that I don't want to have assets in my company that later on, when their usage period is over, that they're worth nothing? So essentially, they're left with nothing in their balance sheet. Do you know what I'm saying, DOF? Like, is this the thought process that they don't want to be running a football club in a way where the players are worth nothing, or players are going on a free at the end of their contract? Because in football, I think, honestly speaking, I think it's too difficult to make money, it's not a very profitable business, or else every dog and cat would be a football owner.
Mhm.
Do you get where I'm going with this?
100%, I do. It's not far fetched at all. I think you're spot on. To be honest, I think you're absolutely spot on, which further explains the motive of the owners or the consortium.
Mm,
That's the problem when you have, again, the saying goes that too many hands spoil the broth and all that. That's usually a problem when you have that. Now, going back to your first part, which you said, how do you explain the switch from the Ronaldos, the Mbappes, the whoever's to Madueke's and co? I
mm,
feel like, to be honest, I feel that there's no proper synergy between. I stand corrected. This is just my opinion. I feel like there's no proper synergy between the board. If you listen to Feliciano, if you listen to Egbali, and if you had listened to Todd Boehly at the start, there was a bit of a disparity, whether we like it or not. I think Todd was more or less leaning to, again, I stand corrected, but I feel like Todd was more or less leaning towards the established players, which was how we got the Sterlings, we got the
mm,
Koulibalys, we got the Ronaldos, and all of them. And then I guess they got sold a dream that who says we can't do this with younger players? And they saw the fact that assets can remain assets
mm.
as against assets becoming liabilities like the older players.
Yes.
And then the switch happened. And of course, when you get something like that, you start looking for someone who's going to drive that kind of a vision, which was where the Winstanleys, the Stewarts came in.
See, you understand where this is going, right? Like,
Exactly.
there's been a madness to this method. It's not like they've been stupidly just scattergunning approach. They've gone into a direction, and this is why the people like Winstanley and Stewart are coming through, because the vision that they've got, whether we like it or not, I'm not saying the vision is the right vision, but these people have a vision which is purely, as DOF said, keeping assets as assets, which means youth. And
Exactly.
they're going down this path, and they're going to a particular model where certain people have a know-how. So Winstanley has a know-how of youth style of projects. Um, Stewart has a know-how. So ultimately, I think what I'm trying to say here, and DRF, come in on this, and then also Benji as well, and the live chat. This is why I've kept on banging on that if we ever win, it will literally be by luck. It's not
100%.
because you're actually looking to win, because for them, business is number one.
100%. 100%. Which is now, unfortunately, if you look at the United States, right? I was going to draw an inference when I'm answering the first question. If you look at the United States, how
Mm.
do they generate the funds? United States football, MLS, I stand corrected. It is from football going fans. It is from merchandise. It is from not necessarily, it's not as lucrative in terms of how competitive, how rewarding the EPL or the Champions League is. So, which is a model I'm sure they are also trying to draw an inference from. If you remember, Todd at the start was talking about having a Super Bowl, sorry, like an all-star match
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whereby
yeah,
it
yeah.
could generate $2
North
million.
versus North versus South, or something like that, right?
Exactly. Now,
Yeah,
this is to explain to you from his level of understanding of how he thinks football works in England, because that
yeah,
is what happens in the United States.
yeah.
If you get
All
what I
star
mean.
NBA and all that.
Exactly. And in one weekend, you will make as much money as you would make over time, if you get what I
Yes,
mean.
yes,
So
yes.
now you can see that all of these things are not far-fetched. We have been getting the signs. We have probably not been paying so much attention because of the dopamine with transfers.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, and beyond that, England is absolutely different. 18 months in, they should have an idea that this is not going to work. It's not working. And like you rightly said, if we're going to win any trophy, it's going to be fluke. In fact, if we had won on Sunday, regardless of the chances we were presented or we created or whatever, it would have been a fluke because
Yeah.
overall, we didn't deserve to win.
Yeah.
I mean, when I mean overall, not in the 90 minutes, over 120 minutes, we didn't deserve to win because we lost our chances. We didn't take our chances and all that. Having
Yeah.
said that, what I believe is happening is the board is a bit split as to how to go about it. You could have the minority prioritizing footballing reasons over business. But of course, if the majority is putting business over the footballing side, then you're going to be shut down. That is what is happening. How do you explain sacking TT? Let's put it this way. Let's come back a bit. TT was reliably, or rather, was supposedly not fired because of the result in Zagreb,
Yeah. No,
or
not for
because
footballing reasons.
not for
Apparently, not for
footballing
footballing
reasons.
reasons.
Exactly. So why? What else would you? Why would you sack? It's not like he committed murder. It's not like he did something really outrageous. So it's and I want to believe it's not like it was rude. I wouldn't know. The rumor is that he didn't reply WhatsApp or
I
even though it's a
true.
banter.
I truly believe it's because Thomas Tuchel, I think, didn't show them too much respect because he felt these owners know nothing about the game. So he
Exactly.
didn't want to collaborate with them. He was basically blunt. Being German, I'm assuming he was blunt. And he might have said, look, I don't think you know too much about football, so don't disturb me. Let me carry on with the team. You do, you do, you.
But
Hundred percent. No, but if you say so,
that's all they wanted. That's all they wanted.
exactly. But if you say so, I don't know how TT said it to them or how he communicated or how he acted. I don't have those details. But the question is, there is a level playing ground where there's a need to compromise. Not because the manager was right to have said it that way. I don't know what happened. But because you understand the place of the footballing passion and the fans. So this was a manager that possibly the fans were in love with, regardless of how topsy-turvy it was already getting because of what was going on and all that. You would have found a playing ground. Now, fast forward to appointing Potter. Why was Potter sacked? Because the fans couldn't take it anymore. Now, Potter was collaborating
Yeah.
according to them. So he wasn't telling them you don't know about football and all of that, which simply means that, again, it is beyond footballing reasons. That is, they don't care about what happens on the pitch.
Yeah.
So, as long as you can collaborate behind the scenes, it's all good. Now,
Do you remember Graham Potter used to? I think someone in the press conference once asked, "How often do you talk to the owners?" And he said, "Probably 3-4 times a week." And I'm like, "Wow, that's a lot of
that's
time.
insane.
That's a
That's
lot of time."
insane.
That's actually insane.
That's insane because
Insanity.
if you truly know what, which was one of the reasons I also fell out with the explanation I was giving at the time. Now imagine I've given an instruction, I've ran it by the owner of the school, this particular woman, I've ran it by her, we've agreed, and then she goes back to tell them a different thing. It was burning me out. It was burning me out because I felt like, okay, in this case, then there's no point because after agreeing, you will still go back and tell them to do it a different way, which wouldn't work. And then when it boomerangs, you come back to me and tell me, oh, I'm sorry, we should have gone with your way. So where am I headed is that a lot of these things, what is happening, even Poch got that job, regardless of whatever history he had with kids or whatever, because maybe out of the lot, he could have been a better yes man who possibly had a better pedigree in terms of the clubs he had managed. That was why he got the job. That's my own perception of the whole situation. So here we need a radical change needs to happen in terms of the approach. If it will, I don't know, but that is what we need.
This is why I said DOF and Benji and to the live chat. This is why I have the title Chelsea Enter the Dark Ages. Because I truly, truly believe these owners will not change their approach. Because
they will change.
this is not Roman era anymore. This
Exactly.
Roman did not care too much about the financial side of the football because his prerogative was just win. He wanted Chelsea to win every single trophy. And you know what? The man did it. Before he was stripped away from this football club, from his grasp, he won every single trophy that was available for Chelsea Football Club to win. So that owner, and I know in this day and age, it's too difficult to be that owner and also financially be be in the right space in terms of financial fair play. But having
No.
said that, we also spent £1 billion under these new ownerships, and it feels like it's a bit of a misuse. But then again, is it really a misuse of income from their misuse of expense from their perspective? Maybe from our perspective, it's a misuse of money, but maybe the owners are thinking, hold on a second, you think it's a misuse, but I have bought a lot of assets that hopefully I can flip for money. But where they have, and this is, I'm coming full circle. This is why this is so interesting. I'm coming now full circle. What DOF said earlier on, the teacher, the businessman, the businesswoman, and him knowing the teaching industry knowledge. These business people, Iqbali and Todd Boehly, or whoever else, right? They thought that this plan that they have, buy young players, keep them as assets, turn them into profit. They have forgotten one big fundamental issue here, because they don't have the knowledge about this game, is that if you don't win and if you don't perform well, your so-called assets will actually depreciate in
100%.
value, even if they're young, because no one will be interested to buy them. And
100%.
also, you have locked them for long-term contracts and you're paying them decent amount of money. No one will be willing to pay those same players those level of money. So you might be stuck with these players who are on the decline for a long period of time. So
100%.
essentially, those assets actually
Still become
become bad.
liabilities. 100%.
Exactly.
100%. I think the difference
100%.
between the difference between Roman and these guys, Roman was first a fan before a businessman of the football club. In this case, with the Clear Lake guys, they are first businessmen before, if at all, even if they are fans. I doubt it. Because
I don't think they're fans, bro. They
They
would
exactly.
have
ain't
no
fans.
any
They
idea
ain't
about
fans.
Chelsea Football Club like 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? They would
Huh?
not know what Chelsea is. But Iqbali
Exactly.
definitely didn't know who Chelsea was. Maybe Boehly did.
Nope.
Iqbali 100% didn't know who Chelsea was. I guarantee you.
Exactly. So that's the difference. Now it's a fan becoming a football owner, a football club owner. The way you're gonna handle things would differ, which was why we saw it with Roman. Roman couldn't care less if we went losses. All he wanted us for us was just to win. And of course, as long as you keep winning, the chances that you're going to run into a loss is very slim. It's just pure logic. If you're winning, the chances that you're going to lose when I mean lose financially, is really slim. To be honest, if you're
Exactly.
winning the Champions League, you're winning the Premier League, you're winning what's it called, the FA Cup whenever you can, the Carabao Cup whenever you can,
Hmm.
the chances that you're going to be in a loss is pretty slim, because one, you've won a lot of money, TV rights have come in, you've gotten paid as well, and then
Yeah.
you're attracting more deals and all of
Exactly.
that. So all these three things put together is their recipes for the club to be on the path to success. But in the case of these guys who are business, if you see, let's put it this way, so that Benji can also talk. If you don't see Chelsea as an end in itself, then you're going to run the club like Clear Lake. But if you see, sorry, if you see the club as a means to an end, you're going to run the club like Clear Lake. If you see the club as an end in itself, you're going to run the club like Roman.
Yeah.
What am I trying to say? If you see Chelsea as a money-making machine above the football inside, that's what it is currently going on with Clear Lake. But if you see it as this is my own, this is my club, this is what we've got to do, because beyond the money, I want to have the bragging rights. Beyond the money, I want to be the best. Then you will do all it can, all it will take you to ensure that that team stays the best. On the Roman, we're getting players from Real Madrid. We're getting players from everywhere. The likes of Kovacic, the likes of all of them, and all that. Please tell me, aside Nkunku, which was still traceable to Roman's era, aside
Mm.
Petrovic, which is still even traceable to Roman's era, according to Matt Law recently, how many top clubs have we negotiated with when we started this our madness of youth players? So this is, I put it this way so that Benji can speak. Glalek is seeing Chelsea as a means to an end, not an end in itself. So the
Yeah.
moment we keep seeing Chelsea as a means to an end, you will keep doing everything for that means to an end to remain a means to an end. That is why football or stadium going fans, we that are on the social media spaces as well, and thank you, Miss, for the opportunity to speak as always. We need to start getting our voices heard. That is the only way this will change. That's why I said it can change. That is the only way it will change. But the
Mm.
moment we're still having delusional set of fans still calling for Poch to have time, not just about Poch, even when Poch is gone, Lawrence Stewart, Paul Winstanley, they need to follow suit, which I doubt because a report came out yesterday saying that Winstanley is going nowhere. For whatever reason, is going nowhere. When I read that report, I just shook my head. It's okay if he's not going anywhere, but get someone who knows what he or she's doing above him. That I don't have a business with that. Now, we need to get all of these things in place because I'm afraid, I am really, really afraid that if we continue like this, our story will become like that of Nottingham Forest. Like you guys said on All You Can Eat yesterday, not
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, Leeds, and co. It is really getting worrisome, to be honest. It is really, really getting worrisome. And the only thing we can do now is maybe it has not gotten to the point whereby fans will start boycotting games, but when they go to games, they need to get their voices heard. We on the social media space, we need to do the same. To be honest, it is really, really getting out of hand. And for Poch, definitely for me, there's been no way back for him since it was hired, in my own opinion. But now
Mm.
it is even clearer that there's no way back because I still believe one or two coaches, they might not get us the Champions League, whatever, but we will be higher up the table if it was another coach, regardless. Maybe
100%.
seventh, sixth, I don't know.
No, DOF, you're completely right. And I completely, by the way, guys, am I behind?
No, no, no. You're good. Go on.
You're
Okay.
good, you're good.
Uh, I just wanted to say I'll let you guys talk because it was a great conversation. You know, it was so nice to hear how people finally are clicking the dots, and you don't even need inside knowledge. If you just read the reports, you just click everything. Just take a moment and think. With DOF, with the example of his friend's company, and then Miz, it was like you were just clicking dots inside your head, and you know it's so nice to see that we are finally coming together and finding you know not finding but we can finally see what's going on at this mediocrity of a football club. I just wanted to tell you guys that did you actually know that Todd Boehly wanted to win? If I told you that, would you believe me?
I would probably believe that because I feel Todd Boehly had a different vision of for the football
Yeah.
club. I feel Todd Boehly.
100%.
I think Todd Boehly was more looking at how can I make this team a very entertaining team, which will then bring the TV rights, more fans will be excited, merchandise, basically commercializing the club, but at the same time having the club's paramount um, ideology of winning as well. So
Yeah.
I feel Todd Boehly had a different vision, but the flaw, I think this is where the clash between Todd Boehly and Iqbali happened, or Clear Lake happened. The flaw in Todd Bowley's approach is that sure, you can make money that way. Yes, more sponsorship, lucrative sponsorship. You're going to be making to Champions League, perhaps, if you go. But the problem is, what Iqbali thought was, if you influx the team with all of these, let's say, Galactico style of approach of players, these players eventually will be worth nothing later on in the books.
Exactly.
This is where I think Iqbali said, wait a minute, I can't have a business that eventually, we are spending so much money on some of these players, and don't forget, these Galactico type of players will want a lot of wages. So he's probably clocked that the cost to benefit analysis probably doesn't work out for him, because later on, when the contracts are over for these players, the club might not have recouped enough money from the revenue and the expense of that player. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
That's exactly it, Miz. If y'all remember at the start of not even last season, when Titi was in charge, who did we want to bring in? So we talked to Mbappe. And how do you know the capacity of Stamford Bridge? Stamford Bridge is, I think it was 42 or 41.
Yeah, it's about 44 or something. Yeah, 44,000.
It's very, very low. And it's not even sold out every single game. But Miss, I can tell you this much. Exactly the same thing in basketball and baseball, every single sport. If you have that one superstar that is in your team, you will go
They'll sell out the stadium. It will sell out the stadium.
Exactly. That will bring you more revenue. I can tell you this much. Todd Boehly wanted to do the Urge Court, but he wanted to stay in Stamford Bridge, build that stadium, and then we just move. So I think it was wanted to move to Urge Court and then give Stamford Bridge to the women's team. I think that was it. To not fully give up Stamford Bridge, but just give it to the women's team, because the women's team, just where they play, it's actually so far. It's very, very hard to get to that stadium, because that's the same stadium that the youth academy play their matches. But that was basically Todd Boehly's plan. But if you remember, after the World Cup, so basically December, January, it switched. I don't know why it just switched, because we just went for Madueke, Badiashile, we just went for Mudryk, and I was just sitting there like, what's going on? I thought we was going in for superstar type of players. So I thought we was actually going in for the Osimhens, and then a quality left back, maybe Davis, and then a quality goalkeeper. I thought we was gonna get Mignon or at least Onana, and look at how that turned out. I thought we was going for that type of players, but then I quickly realized, and I asked my friend, "What's going on?" They was like, "Yeah, by the way, Iqbali is in charge of Chelsea now, so it's not Todd Boehly. Todd Boehly took a step back, and they didn't tell me why." And I was like, "What?" Means I looked at everything. Everything is about the finances. Iqbali, he doesn't care if you're mid-table. He just wants that revenue. So he still wants that new stadium. Don't get me wrong. He still wants that new stadium. He wants to flip these players for profit. And that's why, if we can sell Mudryk or Madueke, for example, for more than we bought them for, that's gonna be a huge. Or if you sell them by book value, that doesn't matter. But it's gonna be a huge plus for us in the future, in the upcoming future, because don't let me say these owners, but Iqbali wants to keep on this style of mediocrity that we see right now. 5-year contracts. They still want to do 8 years or 7 years. So basically, when they recruit new young players, they're gonna do 7 years, but you're gonna have a 2-year loan, and then the 5 years starts to kick in. That's their plan. Instead of doing 5 years, 2-year loan, now you only have 3 years left. We might have to sell you or give you a new contract. So now with this knowledge that I have given you, and we're basically all on the same page, do you see how messy everything is? We can clearly all see we're going in the wrong direction. We should actually rename to Chelsea Hove Albion. That's our name. Chelsea Hove Albion. That's our name. We are not Chelsea FC. We are Chelsea and Hove Albion. That's our name.
I think, do you know what? I'm starting to deep this whole situation, as I said, all throughout this particular members calling. By the way, shout out to everyone in the live chat as well. Nearly 300 of you guys are live. Smash up the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Take a moment right now to smash up the like button. Keep sending your comments as well. It's always very, very interesting to have these members call in because you can share a lot of discussions and really brainstorm. And I feel like I want to continue doing this a lot more with this whole Brighton conversation. But before we do that, Rukudzu, thank you so much for the super chat. I think losing was the best thing for us because maybe the board will see it's not working. Conversations need to be had. Chilwell as captain as well. Do you know what? You'd think the logical thought process for a person would be is to learn from failure. But I don't think they're too bothered, you know. I really don't think they're too bothered because for them, it all comes down to figures and financials. Where's the money? Because at the end of the day, you have to understand these owners, it's all about the money. It's all about the return on investment. It's got nothing to do with silverware. I don't really think it's got anything to do with silverware. Well, that's the feel that I have. Now, Dear Earth, I wanted to go to you about this one and the live chat as well. Let us know about this. When Benji said, Chelsea are looking to perhaps, Chelsea, Hove and Albion, they're so many times we've seen that they wanted a model in that manner. And actually, Hudge in the live chat actually shared this with us. This was back in September 11, 2022, as you can see the time there, ladies and gentlemen. The Premier League clubs most admired by Chelsea owners are those that have a full grasp of how to use data with coaching and football knowledge to allow teams to punch above their weight. Punch above their weight. Unsurprisingly, Brighton is one such team and Brentford is another. Yes. Emphasis must be put on punch above their weight because that means you're overachieving and that means potentially you can sell your assets for high value, for more. Now, I think, and as I said, DOF, I'll go to you first before I go to Benji and the live chat chime in. I think our owners, DOF, I think they do want to become a Brighton type of a football club. I really do think so. Because they've clocked that if they can reduce expenses, and they've already started doing that with the wages, right? I think the bare minimum wage, well, the highest wage you can potentially earn at Chelsea Football Club now, I think is 150,000. Players like Sterling, players like all these other people, they'll leave. They'll have to leave. They will have to go. So wages have been capped, and who knows, maybe down the track, it might get even more, reduce more to maybe 100,000. They've clocked that. Let's reduce wages. Let's get players on the cheap and use data and be ahead of the game. Use AI model to find players before anyone else. Gems. To come in and flourish. And then we can flip them to your Real Madrids, to your, Man Cities. They won't even be bothered to sell to the rivals, right? To your PSGs, to whoever. And along the way, if we somehow, get a trophy or get into Champions League or Europe again, well, fantastic. Kudos. That's a bonus. That's a bonus. Yeah. But I think the entire shift of the model, and I feel like this is Iqbali's approach, is this low cost, high turnover with the flipping of the players. That, because I can't see any other approach why we would be linked with so many kids I don't see any other reason why we are doing what we are doing, because it has to have a financial value to it. Would you agree, Dio, that that is, we probably want to become Brighton type of a football club?
Of course, everything is pointing in that direction. So, from what you just read, Brighton and Brentford, that explains why we keep going back to Brighton for every piece of their jigsaw puzzle, and that explains why Thomas Frank, regardless of
Is
whatever
linked.
position,
Yeah.
exactly. So everything is adding up. To be honest, everything is
It,
actually adding
do you
up.
understand what I'm saying, Dio? The
Of
method to
course,
this madness, it's all adding up actually. We may
it
not
is.
like it, but there's a method to this madness.
Yes, it is. It is adding up. In of course, unfortunately for us fans, in the wrongest. There's no word like that, but in
Yeah.
the wrongest of ways. Because what happens to being likened to Liverpool? What happens to being likened to Man City? What happens to being likened to Real Madrid? What happens to us copying and poaching and stealing whatever people from these other clubs? So see, this is what I'm saying. Something is wrong. I think they bought the wrong club. I don't know what Rain Group alongside
Yeah.
whoever was standing in for Abramovich. I don't know what vision they were checking, because it took forever for this to be sorted. They should have done that due diligence with regards to who they were handing over the club to. Yes, we didn't want Ratcliffe, we didn't want the other guys as well, but maybe Todd was just was just someone who was fronting for this nonsense. To be honest, because I don't think if Todd had told them all of this nonsense from the start and it got back to Abramovich, maybe he wouldn't have sold to them in the first place.
Oh no, he
Maybe Todd
wouldn't.
Mm.
Maybe Todd just told them what they wanted to hear in terms of don't worry, we are continuing your legacy. It's not going to go worse. It's not going to go bad, and all of that. Maybe that was what convinced Rain Group, whoever was representing Roman, if it was Roman himself, to like, okay, you know what? I think these guys are in safe hands and all that. Because
But
apparently
but
we are.
but but DOF, look at the situation now. If you think about it, of course that's what he said. Of course that's what he said. Because that's what Todd Boehly did exactly after. But he's instead of keeping some, members, at Chelsea, he just sacked everyone. And we're gonna get
And
to that
now,
later. And now we're gonna get to that later. Why he sacked everyone.
sorry,
So we
before
cannot.
before you move on, sorry, please make sure you keep your thoughts. If you want to write it, please
Yeah,
write
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I
Go
just
ahead, go ahead.
I just wanted to add something. And now we are recruiting someone who's going to tell us about the history of Chelsea. Who's going to tell us about the mentality of? Did you guys see that report yesterday? We are getting
Mm.
someone who's going to come and tell us the history, the identity of Chelsea. I mean, who does? Oh Jesus Christ! Who does this nonsense? You know why? Because okay, yes, you guys had the backbone, the Peter checks. Yes, let's assume Check came out to say, oh, he left. But if you listen to Check's interview, Czech said clearly that he wanted to leave. And looking back now and how things have panned out, it was the best decision for him to take. If you guys listen to that interview, if you watch that interview, now what does that sentence mean? I'm just paraphrasing, not verbatim. What does that sentence mean? That he was right to have left? Because if he had stayed behind, possibly he would have not agreed with almost everything they have done. That's my interpretation of that sentence
Mm.
of what Peter Check made. Now, why did I interrupt Benji? He sacked everybody. We brought in mentality monster who we didn't even know how he eloped from the club after a few months when he was brought in. We don't know how he escaped from the club. Now we are bringing in someone. Now we are bringing in someone who is coming to tell us about the history, the identity of Chelsea, which Roman never did. Roman never employed any of this nonsense or these nomenclatures that we're bringing in to say, come and teach the players how to be winners. Come and teach these players how to be mentality monsters. You had the likes of Didier Drogba, you had the likes of JT. Please, who are you going to bring it to come and boost? I can't just wrap my head around it.
Mm.
Exactly.
You're sacking people and at the same time still bringing in people who know nothing about the club to come and do what they've done, but they can't do it. Again, for me, I didn't know when Mentality Monster left. Maybe you guys know.
No,
I don't know when.
I didn't know, but he found the back door and he left.
Exactly. So
He
Benji, you can
jetted.
have the floor. So it's just crazy. It's crazy. That's why I don't blame Matlow when he says it's scattergun approach. I don't blame him 100% because that is what it is. It's just scattergun.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Benji, you can speak, please. I just wanted to add that to what you
No,
were saying
no,
when you sacked.
brother, bro, it's fine. Uh, for the live chat, DOF is actually spot on. For once in a while, everyone in the panel and in the live chat too, we're actually spot on now. I haven't seen a comment that is too much left or too much right. We're actually in a straight line, thankfully. And DOF, you're absolutely right. That's the funny part about everything. And when I said sack everyone, why did we sack everyone? And Miss, you talked about this not so long ago when you said it must have been, from the Roman era. You don't want to have traces left behind. That's exactly it.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
That's exactly it. So about the, Taylor Capital and Todd Boehly. So basically, of course, when the US said, he said all of that, just for Roman to like it. Of course he did, but Todd Boehly also did it. That's we have to focus on that. Todd Boehly did what Roman wanted him to do, to keep on winning. He kept TT. It was Egbali who didn't, he was like, I don't know about this. So in November, December, there was like, well, we have to find a new structure. What are we gonna do? So they brought in Graham Potter, and then in what's it called? November, December, they scouted Enzo Fernandez. They saw him in November. December, he played the World Cup. So actually, we were gonna get him for like 86 million euros. That's like 80 million pounds. So not a lot, but it's still a lot. Then after the World Cup, Benfica slapped that 120 million release clause because he scored that goal against Mexico, and then won the Golden Boy, I think it was. And then after that, we got him. And then you just see a hell of young players. So we really have to sit down and really analyze everything. Why are we hiring someone to tell us this is Chelsea when this guy ain't even Chelsea? Does that make sense?
Exactly,
Miss,
Benji. Exactly. Why are we doing?
Miss,
It's like, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's like having been married to your wife and going to call someone outside to come and tell your wife how you behave, how you act. Like,
exactly.
it doesn't make sense.
It
Someone from
doesn't make sense. This is mediocrity. Like, seriously, I'm getting very, very pissed of just talking about this because now you all understand the same pain we all have right now. The more we understand, the more we're thinking, shit, we in some deep trouble, and we haven't even gone to the transfer window yet. We haven't even gone to the financial part yet. If we miss Champions League and Europa League, if we
we're
even
in
miss Europe
trouble.
again, how
We're
much
in
can we
trouble.
survive? Because I've been telling people 2 years back, the Roman era, it was good, but the point deduction, it was coming. That point deduction was coming. What do you think we got a transfer ban? Because we did some foolishness. Okay, TT saved that season. You have to remember, TT saved us. Because if TT didn't come, we are in some deep trouble. Very deep trouble. So TT saved us for those, I think it was 18 months. He was at Chelsea. He saved us. A lot of money, a lot of TV revenue, a lot of deals, and trophies. Miss,
And
all of that and the panel, all of that, what does that mean? It means money. Money is coming in. That's how you get money. You get money through winning. But these owners, they want to take that loophole instead of going forward. They want to take that loophole and be like, we can just be like Brighton. Let's just expand the stadium, flip these pay for profit, maybe play Champions League. But if we don't win it, we don't care. But in the group stages, we get crazy money. If we can get to the lateral stages, we also get crazy money. So for Clear Lake Capital, that's a win-win. So I completely agree with DOF, and me and DOF, we've been saying the same thing for a while now. We have to we need to get heard. Like, we need to speak our minds. We need to go on Twitter. We need to create chaos in the stadium. We need to create chaos because this is not acceptable. For God's sake, we are Chelsea Football Club. people been telling me, "Oh, you wasn't anything before Roman." We were something before Roman. We didn't finish outside the top six before Roman. From '98, I think it was, or from '96, we haven't finished outside the top six. It's only now that we were finishing outside the top six. Why? Why? Did we
And
have?
Benji,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Benji,
go ahead, brother.
Roman doesn't speak a bit of English, but the mentality trickled down from Roman to the entire team, which simply means you don't need to outsource or you don't need to give someone else what you want your club to look like. You state it out, this is what I want, and you get someone to drive it for you. Roman
Exactly.
doesn't speak English. Todd, Egbali, I believe, Feliciano from the interviews I've seen, they all speak English. How
Mm.
hard, how hard is it to communicate your vision properly? How hard is it to communicate and tell them, you know what? This is the identity I want for this club, and this is what it must be. Why must we hire someone to come? Someone who I think has been a part of NATO, from the little I read, has been a part of this and that. How can you bring him to come and tell us what I mean? How do you explain it? What he doesn't know. So it's coming. So he will go and read some books, read history, watch
Exactly.
some videos, and come back to tell you what he has read or what he has
Yeah.
researched.
It's
How
Bro,
does
almost
he?
as if you're so lazy. You're so lazy to do your
that's
own
the part.
research.
That's the part.
Yeah.
This guy is basically doing homework at work. He's
Exactly,
doing
exactly.
this guy is still at school. So basically he came to Chelsea just for studying. That's what he did. He came to Chelsea to study, and then when he's ready, he's gonna speak. But when he speaks, is it gonna impact something? Or maybe these owners be thinking like, oh yeah, but it's just for now. But in 5 years, it's gonna get enough knowledge to impact these players. No, he won't. No, he won't. Because you impact someone by being there and seeing it. So, for example, if JT walks into the first team, you respect him because he's been there and done that. When you see Ronaldo, you respect him. Messi, you respect him. Let's take someone else who wasn't that great, but he was damn good. Let's take what's that Ukraine guy from back in the day? Shevchenko.
Hmm.
Damn good. Damn good. In today's era, he will smash everybody. Back then, no one rated him. We were like, yeah, he's decent. Today, he'd smash. He'd smash. So when you look at these players from back then, if they come into the picture right now at Chelsea, bro, if Didier Drogba just walks into the first team, you bet your eyes, Nicolas Jackson would be like, oh, I just saw God. I literally just saw
Hmm.
God. Because that's the type of image Drogba put on himself at Chelsea. So you can't expect someone else to just study Chelsea for a small period of time to tell us what's Chelsea. It doesn't work that way. It simply doesn't work that way. Constantine, my brother, how you doing, man?
Yeah. Now, before Constantine goes on, let me just unmute Constantine. Hold on. Give me 1 second. As he chose to mute themselves. Constantine, unmute yourself.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, better. There was just some background noise before. Every time I'd
Oh,
unmute you. But I think this is okay. Let me just quickly go through some of these super chats, and then I'm going to come to Constantine. Kevin K, thank you so much for the and also Benji, your mic is a bit faint. So see, just
Okay.
work that out for a second, bro. Work that out. Meanwhile, let's talk to Constantine. Kevin K, thank you so much for the super chat. Honest convo on Mudryk. Should we give him next season? We're going to talk about Mudryk. Don't worry, we'll come back to that. That's a whole new topic on itself. Damon, thank you so much for the super chat. Can someone please talk about the EPL forcing Chelsea to sell the club to these morons from the USA? We didn't ask for this. We were bullied into it. Yeah, look, unfortunately, there's obviously some political game that took place here, right? America and Russia, they don't look at eye to eye, and the fact that Roman being, having Russian background, Russian heritage. Well, I think he's got a Ukrainian heritage as well, but a lot of Russian heritage, Russian background, Russian involvement. there was some politics. So it's not always about what we wanted. It's about what some of these, government and personnel wanted. So it's not easy at all. Constantine, I wanted to ask you. I don't know how much you've heard of the conversation we've had, but basically, my thought process around what's going on is that I don't think the owners are going to change their approach. Their approach at the moment is youth, low wages, and hopefully you can flip them for profit. And that's a really, really good way for them to balance their books and also make quite a bit of revenue out of it, and keep doing that for long. They expect to make a lot of money out of it. Now, where they fail to realize is you do need to win games. You do need to be relevant. Unless you really switch Chelsea's profile into Brighton, where you truly become a selling club, then that's a different situation. But I feel now, Constantine, is these guys, they need a manager that's capable of working with these players. I feel like they just need to keep flipping. They just need to keep flipping these managers on a regular basis until one actually sticks. Because from what we are seeing so far, Pochettino currently, I think he just can't get the best out of these lot. And he's also very cowardice in his approach. I feel at the end of the day, you're just going to have to keep flipping managers, man, until one actually sticks and one actually can deliver your project to a certain level. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. First and foremost, thank you for having me on, Miz, and hope the panel and the chat is all doing well. There's a lot to touch on there. But first and foremost, when you say to reach to a certain level, do you think the squad is even good enough to even reach a certain level after spending $1 billion? Because me personally, I think you can bring in the best manager, but the squad is just at such an average level as a collective. It's just very, very difficult to even think about competing or challenging with even the best manager right now. Because if you go through the gaps in our team, the holes in our team, there's just so much to fix. And
but you know what,
it's difficult to even fix because we spent so much money. And it's just
I feel like
a manager can't even change anything. It's the model that has to change, not really the manager.
I feel like they're not even really worried about bringing in the best manager, because they're not. The shortlist is not anywhere near the best managers. I think it's more about which manager can actually click with this squad of players. It's really just a roulette. It's really by chance. They're literally. Yeah,
if it does click, what's the maximum of the squad and the ceiling? It's probably what, 7th, 6th. And after spending $1 billion,
they're hoping that they're hoping that it could just somehow take them to Champions League position.
No, there's no way. The overall quality of the squad is poor. You can bring in any manager you like. I mean, even Ruben Amorim, De Zerbi, whoever. I would take, if in my personal opinion, I would actually go for someone like Inzaghi, as a realistic option, because he's probably going to win the title with Inter Milan this season. He might want another challenge. He's already been in Italy for a little while, and he has that similar kind of authority to someone like a Conte or a Mourinho, where the players would automatically fear him and respect him. He has that type of personality and character to him. I would go for him over someone like a De Zerbi, over someone like a Michael, or whatever his name is, from Girona, over Thomas Frank. But yeah, that's just my take on it as well. Because even in the final, just to talk on a little bit on the final as well, that even what Enzo done, right, that back heel that he done, I don't think that Enzo even does that if we have a Mourinho or a Conte in charge, because Poch, he creates such a comfortable environment for the players. There's no pressure, everyone's relaxed, where even subconsciously Enzo thinks, oh yeah, I can just try something stupid in a cup final. He would never try that if it was Conte on the dugout or Mourinho. But because
he would know he would get his backside kicked.
Exactly, and that's something that comes over time. It's not like Enzo, he gets the ball and he thinks, oh yeah, Poch is the manager, I'm going to try a back heel. It's just something subconsciously over time where he feels relaxed, he feels no pressure, he just feels he can take the mickey and just try anything in a cup final. And even the players as even just one more point, even the players as a collective, right, in the extra time period was so embarrassing about we're going to play for penalties, and then now it's coming out. Poch said it's the players, it's not him that told them to play for penalties. Even collectively as a group of players, like, is no one going to take responsibility to say, you know what, we're on Liverpool, we're in extra time, we've been dominating them. There's in the last 10, 15 minutes of normal time. Let's stay on their necks. Let's go for it, because penalties is a 50-50. It's a 50-50. So if you're on top in the game, why would you not go for it even more in normal time when the momentum is in your favor? And after spending so much money on all of these players, like there wasn't even one individual that tried to take responsibility to say, you know what, I'm going to try and make a difference. Whether that be Mudryk, Madueke, Enzo, whoever else was on the pitch at the time, no one tried to take responsibility. Just as a collective, they were all we're happy just to, go to penalties. And then even then, if you even look at the half-time break in extra time, if you see how Liverpool were as a team, they were all closely together. Klopp was talking to them. It was more of a collective, half-time break. Whereas Chelsea, there was one player there, there was one player lying there was two players back there. They were all spread out. There was no even cohesiveness in their team talk for half-time and extra time. It was all just all over the place. So from there, you could see just on a basic level that the team's not together. They're all just doing their thing. And Poch, as a manager, he's not even taken any responsibility to try and sort that out. And even Poch himself, you're known, like, you should be self-aware that you're known as a bottler. You're known as a manager that doesn't win anything, that bottles titles, that bottles trophies, that bottles finals. Surely you should have some fire in you to actually get this final over the line and get it back in your favor. And him as well, he was just passive. He was just passive. He was happy to coast along, and then whatever happens, and then we ended up losing. So
nothing ever grows. Sorry to add, nothing ever grows in your comfort zone. I'm sure we have
100%.
We have all heard that saying, and I really agree with you. If it was a Mourinho that was on the dugout, immediately Enzo did that nonsense he did that day, I'm pretty sure it would have been substituted. Mourinho,
straight away,
100%,
directly.
Yeah,
it would have been substituted, and that simply means that Poch. That is why the players will like him, or anybody who has worked with him will like him, because it just allows you to have your day.
100%.
DOF. Do you remember what I said in All You Can Eat Chelsea yesterday? Do you remember what I said?
Yeah.
I said a manager's persona is ultimately what becomes the team's representation. Like
100%.
a team acts and behaves in a way a lot because of how their manager is.
Of course.
If your manager is a robust leader, leads from the front, has a charismatic view, is powerful, is engaging, is brave, then it's contagious. You take on all of those and you become that as well. You become the representation of that persona, basically. But if your manager is a coward, is carefree, is a friend, doesn't put too much pressure, you will then also carry those same values and become that.
100%.
Poch is the perfect manager for this group in the sense of they're all on 8-year contracts, they're all comfortable, and he gives off that comfortable environment as well, where there's no pressure, he's relaxed. So it kind of goes hand in hand in a bad way, of course in a bad way, where they don't really care about Chelsea. They're just here on their 8-year contracts, on their money. Poch, there's no pressure. He's always passive. He doesn't really care himself. And then that's why we are where we are. And even in that cup final, like, how I can never understand, like, as a professional athlete, when they say, oh, we're tired. We had an eight day break between the final. Liverpool played in midweek, and you play 90 minutes every week. Is it really that much to give an extra 30 minutes, especially when you're on top and a cup final? This is your season for Chelsea, because you're not going to win any other trophy this season apart from this final. So can you not find it somewhere inside of you to give an extra 30? Like, it's not, you're not playing another 90 minutes. You're playing an extra 30 minutes. Like, really, is it that hard to just give your all, or find something inside of you to give that extra effort? Because it's not even like we were dominating the first half of extra time and then we fell off in the second half of extra time. We fell off as soon as extra time kicked off, and then that was us done.
No, Aka, I'm sorry to please. I'm just in a chat from Aka. You can't tell me that we can't blame Poch. It depends on what you've instilled in this player. These players are young. It is what you've instilled over time they would do. A Mourinho will tell you, this is a final. I'm not here for gimmicks. I'm not here for jokes. We just have to win. If we have to
Exactly.
pack the bus, we just have to win regardless. Now, you have a chance where you had three, if I remember, Palmer. We had three players around Enzo on that situation.
Yeah,
We
he
had
could have
three
laid it
players.
off. He could have
He could
laid
have
it off
laid it
anyway.
off.
Yeah.
And then this is what you prepared them for. That you're not going to get as many chances because this is a final. We're playing Liverpool, regardless of whoever the put out. We're playing a big team. Make sure you take every chance that comes your way. For example, Palmer could have as well backheeled when he shot and Keller saved as well. But he could smell blood and he wanted to get us the goal. What was Enzo doing in that situation? By the way, Enzo had no business in that place in the first place. Let's not even go into tactics, so to say. Let's not even go into tactics and all that. However, you can tell me that we can't blame it on the manager. We can. Yes, it was Enzo's decision, 100%, but it depends on what you've been instilled. When you know you're under pressure, you have a manager who's going to possibly roast you for breakfast. If you do such a thing, you won't attempt it. The first thing you're thinking of is how can we get this goal out of the way? Not what he did to Aka. Yes, we can blame the players, of course we can, but at the same time, the manager also needed to put a sense of urgency, a sense of pressure, a sense that
Exactly.
you must deliver, regardless of whatever situation you would find yourself in. So please, Aka, for me personally, I'm going to blame, yes, the players and all that. People said we dominated Liverpool. We dominated Liverpool when Liverpool dropped off because they were
We
also tired at
dominated
we
the
some point.
game.
only
We
dominated
dominated like
Liverpool
20
for
minutes.
20 minutes
Exactly,
in
for
the
20 minutes.
just before the
We
second half
dominated for
finished.
20 minutes.
And that's
Before
Like,
when we
that, it
dropped
was
off.
all them.
It was
l-
all them. And means if you remember, before we played that game when we had the members calling, I said, regardless of who plays, Liverpool has a system. Regardless of
Yeah,
who
you said
plays.
that. You did say
They
that.
have a
Yeah,
system. And it didn't matter if it was Bradley at right back. It didn't matter if it was
it
Gakpo.
was
It didn't matter if
Gomez
it
or
was.
anyone. Yeah, it didn't
It
matter.
didn't matter. Gravenberch to left and Gomez slotted in like a glove. Like it was just perfect. Then not to talk of all the 18-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, the 16-year-olds, the Trion, and we still look second fiddle to a Liverpool team C. That is where Poch has an issue. That's why I
Some
will
of
never get that.
the players that came on for Liverpool only made their debut against Luton like a few days before, and they were coming on
yeah,
seen out of the
exactly.
game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
I was saying
yeah.
that.
I just want to, because obviously I've seen Akaka and Haj touch on this, and I really want to focus on this now a little bit. And I've got my mind. I just can't get out of the fact that I think Chelsea Football Club are very much, these owners are looking at it as a business point of view, and I want to circle back on that. I know we talk a lot about do this, do that, change. Like these people, they just look at Chelsea as a business, and I think that's the reality of it. But I want to just quickly touch base, not quickly. I want to actually fully discuss this situation here. Haji's saying, "I'm sorry, I don't care how shit Pochettino is. The decisions these guys made on the pitch in the final third were embarrassing. I don't know why we want to protect these unproven players." Now, look, all I'm going to say is that I've got no affiliations with any of these players. I don't want to protect any of these players, but I feel like these players, they go to the field with instructions, right? At the end of the day, they follow a game plan or supposed game plan, and they go there trying to carry that out. Now, decision making or finishing, these things, if this is a deficiency in the team, and it has been, right? It has been for a long time, not just now under Pochettino, not just under Graham Potter, not just under Thomas Tuchel. This has been an issue for a little while now. My thing is, can you? Is that not being trained? Is that not being addressed in the training sessions to have more drills on this? Are they not sitting down with video analysis from other backroom staff that do all of these analysis? Are these players not taking these information in? We've recently heard some of these players apparently are not okay to take feedback. If that's the case, then this football club is not for you. You come into this football club with an open mind that you want to improve, that you're open for criticism, that's the only way you're going to actually improve yourself as a footballer. So we keep making these same nonsense mistakes. And this is why I tweeted earlier on. Are we not learning? Are people not learning? Like, for example, me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys probably have many different examples. If I one day walk through a particular street and I see that there are thugs there, you best believe next day I'm not walking in that street.
You ain't walking in that street.
Because I know, like, I've seen thugs there. I'm not trying that street out again. I'll go somewhere else. I'll go another way. I'll go another route. So what does that say about me? I've learned. What would be stupid is, I know I've seen thugs there. Let's try that road again. That just shows that I'm not learning from my mistakes. I'm opening myself up to be mugged, to be beaten up. Do you know what I mean? So are we not learning? And this isn't just for the players. This is a broad question for the managers, for the directors, for the owners. Are we not learning? Yeah, we can sit here and blame players. I mean, what do we want? Get rid of a lot of these players again? We've already got rid of many players last summer. Are we thinking about getting rid of more players? It's impossible. We can't just keep doing that. We need to figure out a way how we can improve, how we can actually get better. Like, surely, okay, let's say this Liverpool-Chelsea game, Carabao Cup game, right? Surely, after the game, not straight after, but the following day, surely the managers are sitting down with the players and going through the game and pinpointing where they can do better. Are they not doing this? Like, if you're not doing that, then how are you going to learn? Are they not checking out? Like, okay, this is what happened in the first 45 minutes. Where did we go wrong? What could we have done better? Because if they're not doing that, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to improve. Because where's the barometer? Where's the, like, where's the level?
Now the question is, yeah, go ahead. I mean? Yeah.
No, like, basically, this is what I want to, like, we want to blame players. We want to bash the players. But we've seen all throughout this season, this has been an issue. So who should really be bashed here? Is it the players, or is it the people that are in charge of the players? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
of
course, yeah, it's the people in charge, of course, and even the reports coming out the last week or so, I think probably just answered your question in terms of learning from mistakes. When they're doubling down on their strategy, they're hiring more people from Brighton. The head of recruitment is coming over from Brighton. They're linked with people at Cesco. They're hiring a loans manager from Swansea. They're hiring another mentality coach. Like, they're just doubling down on what's already has the club in the mud. They're just doubling down on the same strategy. So clearly, they're not learning from their mistakes, and that goes to the ownership. Even the mentality coach that's coming in, he's been hired by someone. Well, he was recommended by someone called Bryce Cavinger. I'm not sure if you guys spoke about this earlier in the stream, but he's the head of performance at Chelsea. Bryce Cavinger, and he was working with Gareth Southgate for like 7 years at England. 7 years. So on top of you hiring people from Brighton, that's already a mid club, you're hiring people as head of performance from Gareth Southgate's England, who's bottled every chance to win a trophy.
Who are not really a high performing team at all.
No.
Gareth Southgate, he's bottled everything that's come his way as a player, as a manager, and you're hiring someone from his staff to be head of performance at Chelsea. Even the title alone, head of performance, you should already be fired automatically because the performance is in the mud, it's in the bin. And now this person from Gareth Southgate's team shouldn't be here anyway. He's hiring another person as a mentality coach. So nobody's learning from their mistakes because you've got more people coming in as a mentality coach. We have more people coming in from Brighton. We have more links with young players. So nobody's learning from their mistakes.
This is why I've titled Constantine the show, Chelsea Enter the Dark Ages.
Yeah, we're going to be in the wilderness for a very long time. People need to accept the reality. The only way things are going to change, if even that, is if the match-going fans protests, like the same way they at the end of the game against Wolves, during the game against Aston Villa, they need to ramp it up by 10 more times, and then maybe down the
Yeah.
line things will change.
Constantine,
But
me and the OF, we said this. We said this
yeah,
before you came in, so we said this. So that's a great point. I just wanted to touch up on. I really agree with all of this that you were saying. I don't really disagree with anything. I just really, from where I'm just coming from the sports kind of view, because I don't work. Like, my work is basically playing basketball. So I'm just coming from the sports kind of view, and where I look at it is, for me, I just can't say, oh, it's a coach fault or it's the hierarchy's fault. For me, everybody is responsible from top to bottom, because when it comes to players, yeah, we can look at the hierarchy, but when it comes to this decision making, there's no way Pod says, yeah, you are allowed to do this. Like, we actually need to these players need to take more responsibility on their finishing, because you can't be this bad. I don't care about your price tag.
but they are this bad though. That's the thing. They are this bad. That's just how it is. We've recruited badly, and then they are this bad.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. How many players have you been saying are bad and then just flip the whole script within 1 and 2 years and be flooding in with goals?
At Chelsea, or just in general.
It doesn't matter if it's at Chelsea, just in general, actually.
Yeah, you can have maybe an individual player that you might not rate, and then he comes good over time. But when you have a whole team of players that you don't rate, then it's a big different story. Like,
Okay, so
we have players in our team. Just sorry, one last point.
Yeah.
Like, for example, someone like Augusto, we don't need to watch Gusto for 2 and 3 seasons to think, yeah, this guy might have something. Or even like a Petrovic or a Palmer.
Yeah.
We've had a small sample size to see, okay, these guys, they have something. Maybe let's keep them on, and then let's see what happens. Modric,
Exactly.
Madueke, Jackson. We don't need to see these guys for another 10,
you're
20
right.
games, another season, because as football fans, we know when we see a good player, it just takes a small sample
You
size
recognize
to think.
talent. You basically
we recognize talent.
You can see talent with your eyes.
Yeah, we don't have to see Jackson for another 100 games or 20 games. Like, Jackson, get him out. Mudryk, get him out. Noni, Badishil, Disasi, get them all out, because they're not good enough. We've seen enough of them, in my opinion. I would take out over half of this squad if it's possible.
So hold that thought for a second, all you guys, and Constantine, and it's a very good point that you just said, and Haj, I think, kind of reiterates that. But Miz, don't you think it's also recruitment? In my opinion, since 2020, both ownerships have signed very bad set of attackers that have cost us many finals. Sunday felt like I was watching 2022 final again. So we have now come to a situation where we agree what Constantine just said, that there are certain players that you can see and you don't need to see too much more, and you feel, no, they're good players, right? And there are certain players that you just go, you know what, I don't need to see you for another 100 games to hope that you become a good player. I can already tell that maybe you're not going to reach that level that I think you should be reaching, or whatever the case is. If that's the case, and we've been talking about learning, are the directors going to learn from this? Are the directors going to eat that bitter pill and say, okay, we got wrong with this player, that player, and this player. What do we do now? How do we, because as you said, Constantine, we can show perseverance by keeping them and hoping, literally at the end of the day, it seems like it's hope that they turn out to be good players, or we come to a realization and say, do you know what? They're probably not going to be good. So are the board going to learn? Because if they don't learn, Constantine, then we're going to keep continuing this circus show for a long, long time.
Do the board even deserve to learn? That's the thing. No, they don't. Or in my opinion, they don't even deserve to learn from it. You've royally messed everything up. You don't even deserve to fix the mistakes. So
you just need to get out of here. You just need to get out.
You don't even deserve to learn, because you've invested so much money. You've invested $1 billion. So even if you try to rectify the mistakes just due to FFP and how much money we spent, there's only so much you can rectify.
You can actually do.
So basically what you're saying is you've done a sackable offense.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the core of this squad is unfortunately going to stay how it is. There may be 3-4 departures, but the 25-man squad, how it is now, it's going to be very similar next season, maybe 4 or 5 differences. and
So,
there's not going to be another
Constantine,
overhaul.
how do you feel? How do you feel when you see recent news that our owners are going to further empower Winstonley and Stewart by putting more people underneath them? So they're not going nowhere. So
Yeah,
how do
then
you feel when you see that? I suppose.
it's just absolutely disgusting. And even to touch on the point that the tweet you brought up before about Brentford and Brighton, when we won the Premier League under Conte, that was the season Brighton even got promoted to the Premier League. So, and that was just what, 5 years ago, 5, 6, well, coming up to 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So when we won the Premier League with Conte, Brighton were just getting promoted to the Premier League, and now we're
Yeah.
basing our model on a team that was promoted 6, 7 years ago. And even Brighton, what are they even doing that's exceptional? Because Stoke City have got to the Europa League when they were in the Premier League. Stoke City were playing Europa League football at one point.
Yeah.
Burnley were playing Europa League football under Sean Dyche. West Ham are playing Europa League football almost every season. They're in the they were Europa League twice, and then they won the Conference League. So what's even Brighton doing that's exceptional? Brentford are in a relegation battle this year. So what are they doing that's exceptional? And the fact that these directors are getting more even say to hire people is embarrassing in itself, because what are they doing? They're hiring a loans manager to cover the fact that all of their loans have been garbage. What loan is actually successful that's happened this season? You can say what, maybe Amari Hutchinson, he's doing okay at Ipswich, he's scoring some goals for them. Apart from that, most of the loans have been recalled or cancelled, or they're just on the bench. What's the goalkeeper's name? Selina, what's he doing in Belgium? No one even knows. Is he keeping clean sheets?
I don't even know if he actually even starts. No
Yeah,
one knows.
Even Broja, he's been on the bench for Fulham every game that there's been 4 games in the Premier League. He's come off the bench for 2 games. He stayed on the bench for 2 games. So he's not even starting for Fulham. So that's another messed up loan. And they can't even do the basics of having even this story went under the radar about Malang Sarr on deadline day, where they messed up that transfer.
That was pathetic.
Malang Sarr is on 100k a week. If you do the maths, he's got 6 years. He's got 6 months, let's say, left on his Chelsea contract. How much is 100 grand for another 6 months? That's probably what, 2 million?
2 million.
I don't know, something like that. So there's 2 million that you could have got off the books. And then you had the Le Havre sporting director coming out to say Chelsea were very unprofessional. They were going back on the deal, going back in, going back out, and then they just turned off their phones, and then they weren't picking up our calls. And this is meant to be Chelsea Football Club, and you're damaging our reputation in the transfer market over Malang Sarr. You can't even get that deal over the line to save you 2 million. I thought we're all about reducing the costs, the operating costs. So clearly that's a big negligence on the directors, because what else were we doing on transfer deadline day? We weren't negotiating any big transfers. We weren't doing any other big deals. So why couldn't you get Malang Sarr over the line? That's 2 million on wages that could have been saved. And then you have the Le Havre sporting director coming out to say Chelsea, their phone calls were being declined. The phones were turned off. We couldn't get in touch with them. So you can't even get small little deals like that over the line. But yet you're getting more responsibility to hire people under you to help you out.
It's madness. And this is why
it all goes back to the owners.
And this is exactly what I was going to say. It all comes back to the owners, because that's where the buck stops, really. If they have the right structure, if they have the right vision, then it all trickles down. So this is why when we talk about manager, when we talk about players, when we talk about directors, I feel like there's far deeper problem, and the deepest problem, the biggest problem is how the owners view all of this.
100%.
So,
I'm not sure if you covered this or maybe a video like a year ago, Miz, where Boehly, he was a part of a business conference. It's actually on YouTube, whether the title is "Buying a Sports Team is One of the Ways You Can Get a Legal Monopoly." And then even a year ago, he was talking about a multi-club model and all of these things. And then even one of the things he was saying, this is how deep they go in terms of making money. They said currently right now, when we bought Chelsea, the under-8s and the under-9s, they were not being monetized. There's no content for the under-8s and under-9s. He was saying how we should make like a film or like a documentary following the under-8s and under-9 players, and then that can be monetized. So when people say, "Oh, are these owners fans of the club? Do they care about winning?" No, just forget that. They don't care about anything. They care about making money, and to the point where they're thinking about monetizing under 8s and under 9s. That's how deep they're going to make money, to make documentaries and films about the under 8s and under 9s teams. That's how they're trying to squeeze every penny out of every level of the club. So, and this is coming from their mouth. So people just have to listen.
This is why I was saying that I want to circle back to the conversation. How it's not about winning, man. Like, we can sit here and talk about Leeds next up. What can we do? This, that, the other. We may have a victory, but eventually we're probably going to get knocked out from that particular competition anyway. And as I said, if we do get a particular victory, it'll be by chance, it'll be by luck, it'll not be by design. So we will keep harping on about the fact that it all comes from the owners. Aka is in the house, but before I speak to Aka and we all speak to him, Rakudzo, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. I think it's mentality. You can't tell me Enzo scores a crazy free kick far out and can't pass a ball in the final third or try a back heel. Yeah, look, I mean, as I said, it's people do things in a particular environment based on how they feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Enzo was in an environment where you're demanded at the demanded highest level, and you know that there is consequences of doing stupid stuff like that, he won't do this. I'm telling you right now.
Just to that point, Miss, do you think Enzo is going to try that when he was playing in the World Cup final with Argentina?
Right, Messi would have said, mate, get the F out of here.
There is no way. There is no way that Enzo is doing it in the World Cup final.
He ain't doing that in the World Cup final to those Argentinian players, bro. I'm telling you, he'd get himself murdered. Do you know what I mean?
Because every chance matters in that type of final. Like, you can't 100%. Mess around.
Especially against France, who've got lethal weapon. So, Rich Moneymakers, thank you once again for becoming a member for another 2 more months. Great show. I have contact inside the Chelsea board. If you want change, contact this guy, Daniel Finkelstein. He's one of the Chelsea directors. Thank you, my man, for that. Aka, my brother, how you doing?
I'm actually all right, like not supporting Chelsea anymore, so I'm a lot happier in my day to day. You know what I mean?
You must be a happy man.
Yeah, a lot more, man. Like, honestly, like that final, I was done. Like, I've been like, I see the title of your show. I've been in the dark ages since last season, bro, and I've been out of love.
You were there. You're just waiting for us.
I was waiting for everyone to. Yeah, I'm the king of the dark ages. Come live in my little hut with me.
You're gonna show us around. You're gonna show us around now.
Man. It's lovely and dark and cold. Do you know what I mean? It's a great place to be, isn't it?
Stinky. Yeah, we
get man.
Oh my God.
No, but honestly, like, I don't really have much to say, innit? I just want to say, like, I'm so disappointed and I'm so disgusted. I'm appalled. This club is a joke. Absolute joke, man. Top down everywhere. The owners, absolute joke, man. They've completely ruined this club. You see United, yeah, when Ratcliffe came in, he's talking about this 3-year plan, 2-year plan. We had a 3-year plan of our own, and this is the 2nd year of it. So really and truly, we are finished. We are finitoed. The players, oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, that final put it all the way up. I have smoke for every single player, bruv. You see the likes of players like Anthony. Yeah, you see him. You see people like McTominay, all these, man, Bruno Fernandes, all these other players that get smoked day to day to day. And they're in a team that's performing better than ours. Look at these, man. Look at them. Enzo, yeah, I don't care that this isn't a World Cup final, my guy. It's a final. You understand? Okay. You should know what it takes to win finals. Don't tell me that you need Poch to flipping tell you how to play a final, bro. You just won the biggest final of all time. So don't tell me you don't know what to do. Caicedo, embarrassing, bro. If I keep it real with Caicedo, this season has been embarrassing for you. Absolutely 100, 200 million on this midfield, and it sucks. Honest to God, I don't care what anyone tells me that this manager could do for these players, innit? It's time that these players take some responsibility. Look at someone like Palmer. Palmer has come into this team and he said, I am the best player this club has got. Put your trust in me. And he's barely been here. Enzo, 105 million pounds you cost us, bro. Do something then. Caicedo, perform better. Gusto, I understand. Gusto's been decent, and I haven't missed Reece James. You all know how much I love Reece James, innit? But Gusto, awful, man. We can't control a ball. What? That's Poch's fault. Distassi falling all over the place, slipping, sliding. Man, these
But you know
players,
what, Aka? Like,
No.
you know how you just said that you've got smoke for every single player? Do you know how mad it is for every single player to buckle in a final? Like, what is
insane.
that down to? Do you know what I'm trying to get to? Like, I want you to think deeper than just smashing the players. Because if it was just one or two players that was performing underwhelmingly, then you can say, hey, those players, there's a big issue. Let's try and fix this up. You've just nailed it because this is the truth. Almost everyone was bad. Desassi was coughing up the ball. Gusto was coughing up the ball. Ben Chilwell fighting with kids. Raheem Sterling was barely in the game. Enzo and Caicedo were rubbish as well. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Aka? When the entire squad is poor, it's not about the individuals anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? There is a disease. There's a disease here.
I don't even disagree with you, Miz. Yeah, maybe I need to explain myself in terms of how I see the problems at Chelsea. In it, the owners, the biggest thing. I don't want Poch here at Chelsea. Yeah, and the game that made me say that was the win against Spurs, that 4-1 win against Spurs. I was completely done with this guy, over it. So for me, I can't keep going, I don't like Poch. I don't want Poch here. 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 Because I'm tired, bro. I don't rate this guy. I don't want him here. I don't know how more clear I can make that, innit? Do you understand? I would like to think I blame Poch for the tactical issues. In that game that I saw, yeah, I think we did, like you lot said against City, and I watched the game against City again. We did do enough to win that game. And I also do think in this Liverpool game, we had enough chances to at least be a goal up, to be 2 goals up. Okay, so I think
we should have won in 90 minutes. The last 20 minutes in the second half, we should have won.
We should have won that game.
The last 20 minutes of the second half.
So that's where, for me, like in this game, it's hard for me to blame Poch when Enzo did what he did, when Jackson did what he did, when all the other players did what they did. Like all the things that these players did are things that you can't blame Poch for doing. If people want to sit here and tell me Gusto can't control the ball because of Poch, you're stupid. Don't sit here and tell me that, innit? But if you want to sit here and tell me that Poch's substitutions, Poch's tactics, Poch's whatever, his mentality that he gave to the team, I'll sit here and agree with you, innit? I don't think any of us are in disagreement when it comes to not wanting Poch here. I just want to blame him for the things that I think he deserves blame for, innit? And the things that I think the players deserve blame for, like their performance yesterday in that final. For me, you don't need a manager to manage a final. Every player should go out there motivated and ready to win.
So, Aka, here's a question for you. We have seen the performance and it's been poor. We have seen plenty of performances like that all throughout the season where the players are culpable. What should you do? Like, don't you think it's on you to then go as a manager that you're going to take the bench, my man? I'm going to bring someone else in. You should take the bench. You should take the bench. I'm not continuing with you. I'm going to try totally someone different. Where's the consequence? It seems like they can keep making these mistakes and get away with it and start again and again and again for Chelsea.
So the biggest problem is we have Enzo, Caicedo, Gallagher. These 3 players are always going to play. Behind this, we have some, I don't know, is Santos still here? We have Casade who's here. We have Leslie Ugochukwu who's here. And we have Lavia who's here. Those 3 players, the Gallagher, Enzo and Caicedo, are better than every other midfielder that's here. So unfortunately, there is no one you can bench them for. Okay, the attack is crap, bro. There's only one attacker you can bring on to change anything, and his name is Nkunku. And even he is like still off the pace. You have Sterling, inconsistent. Jackson, inconsistent. The only good attacker we have is Palmer. So the substitutes that you could even make for the attack, they won't change our luck. The team is so bad. This team is Washington, yeah. This team sucks. The team is awful. Like, what is anyone supposed to do? Mudryk, Madueke, to change the game? What is actually going to happen for us? It's crazy.
So where do we go from here? If everything is not good, and there can't be any consequences for poor results, where do we go? What do we do? Like, surely we can't just continue like this.
You're
Because
right.
next
No,
game against
no.
Leeds,
Sorry, I'll let
these
someone else
players are
talk.
not going to all of a sudden just score again and have better, final third decision making. Like, what do we do? What do we do in the next upcoming transfer window?
The
What needs
question,
to happen?
the question is, how much would it take, or will it take, for the hierarchy to pull the plug? And I've always been saying this since last season. It took a
Pull the
long ass
plug on what?
time for
Yeah, pull
these
the plug on
owners
the
to
manager
pull-
or on the model.
Yeah,
Huh?
pull the
On
plug on
both.
who?
On both. On both.
But they're not pulling the plug on the model because
you
the
know
head
what?
of
Let me see the model. Let me see the
recruitment from
model, because-
Brighton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let me just say the model. When are they just gonna say, you know what, screw this, they ain't working. This ain't working. We're gonna have
They're
to
not.
take another route.
This is the
Or
thing. They're
The
not
head
gonna
of
say that.
the head of recruitment from Brighton, he's starting in November, so that's already November
Yeah.
confirmed that the model is still going to stay in place until November.
that's
100%, and we've
This
is what I'm
established
saying.
earlier
So
on,
it's already
and
done.
we've already established earlier on in the show for today that these owners, they want to be hands-on, and
Exactly.
they want to continue with this model, and they're egotistic. They don't want to admit that they've got it wrong. And to be honest, we've also established when Constantine came that maybe they don't want to, like, maybe in their minds. And I think when DOF was also, me and DOF, we were talking about this, maybe in their eyes, they're not making a mistake, because this is what they
Exactly.
want to do anyway. They want to become a Brighton-esque type of a model.
But
On top of that, they're already too far deep to even change. Come on, if you spent $1 billion in 3 transfer windows, there's no going back. You have to just see it through. For
that's
right
the
or
thing.
wrong,
That's the thing.
you're going to see it
Constantine
through.
and
They're too far
everybody.
deep.
Constantine and everybody. I ain't talking about the money. Like we all know we screwed. Let's just put that aside. I'm just saying, how much is it gonna take? Focus on how much is it gonna take to pull the plug. To pull the plug, how much? How much also means money, because you have to think about these guys are billionaires, and they are losing a hell of a ton of money if they continue down these routes for 2 and 3
because
more seasons.
They bought
Question.
Chelsea on a cut price deal. So either way, they've already, if they were to ever sell Chelsea, they're already going to make a profit. So even if
No,
we're
they
10,
won't.
11, 12,
No, they won't.
will.
No, they won't.
Of course they
Because
will.
no, they won't.
100%.
Listen, they won't. You cannot sell Chelsea in 10th for 5 billion. You are completely out of line over there. You can only sell. Listen to me. You
They
can
bought
only
Chelsea
sell
for
who's going great.
2.5 billion.
Okay,
Was
let
it
me tell
2.5
you. Let me tell
billion?
you this. How many times did Everton try to sell the club? Did someone buy it?
No, but you can't compare Everton to Chelsea because
I'm not comparing.
there's
I'm not
just
comparing.
so many
The
factors.
bottom line is to sell a club. We talked about to selling a club. Could Everton sell a club? No, they couldn't. Arsenal tried so many times to sell that club. Did they? No, they didn't. So
No, Arsenal never tried to sell it because the Kroenkes never wanted to sell.
they wanted to sell. They wanted to sell. Yes, they would. They wanted to sell to the head chief of Spotify, but then it was down to, it was like, it doesn't look great. Nah, I'm out.
Do
you know
what?
why? Because he's Swedish. And
I
Swedish people are some great ass people when it comes to finances.
I hear what you're saying, Benji, but I feel like Constantine has probably got a point here, and I kind of agree with him in the sense that they did buy London. Like that, it's a lucrative area, man. They did buy this club at a very cut price, payment. 2.5 billion, I think, close to 3 billion.
It was 3.5, something like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's say 3.5. In 10 years' time, Chelsea, where they're located in heart of London, the lifestyle around there, there's a lot of things that's going for that location. Roman has created a lot of imperious history during that time frame. Has put us in the map, in the European stage, in the world stage. So there will be owners down the track that will buy Chelsea for 6 billion.
100%. Especially if they build a new stadium, that will automatically double,
or
almost double the cost of the club in general, because they're not. they're not going to build that stadium out of their own pocket. That will be a loan. That the
But
next
that's the same thing.
and-
That's the
and
same
and
thing.
you best
Now we're talking
believe
about ifs,
the-
buts, and maybes. This
No,
is
no,
what
no.
I'm talking about.
But
we talking.
the
we
owners,
basically
the owners will 100% build the stadium. They will. That's one of their biggest plans. They have to.
okay. So now the question is where, Miss? Do you know in London right now? There's no location. It's basically impossible to find space in London. We had
No,
Earls
the
Court
Earls
right
Court
in
site
front of us, but
was
They'll
there.
have to move then. They'll have to move.
Else
Bro,
cool.
Benji,
No, it's either
if they
Earls Court
can't,
or expand Stamford Bridge. They'll just buy the land.
Benji,
Okay,
if they
but if you
can't build the
expand-
stadium, if they can't build the stadium, I'm telling you, they're gonna get ruined. They're hinging a lot on building the stadium.
Because
but Miss,
Roman already had the plans to build the stadium.
Guys.
Roman's not an idiot. Like he already drew up the plans. So there is potential there to build a stadium.
guys, I'm not talking about it's impossible to build a stadium. I'm just talking about where are we gonna build? Because if we're gonna expand Stamford Bridge, that's 55. Maybe 50, 55 maximum.
I don't think they want to expand Stamford Bridge. I think
They're gonna go to
at the
Earls Court,
moment,
trust me.
they're getting forced to do this because of the pitch owners. There's a lot of
Exact-
other political
exactly.
games that's going on. Their ambition is to build a state-of-art stadium like the Camp Nou, kind of where you have 80, 90,
Like Spurs, where they can
100,000.
make concerts.
Yes.
and
Yeah,
all
where
these
they can
things.
do concerts, they can do big events, where they can. It's not just about the football. So I personally don't think they really care too much about expanding Stamford Bridge because it's impossible. So
It's not worth
They-
it either because you're only going to go to about 55,000 for
That's-
spending how much money to make it
and
bigger.
Aka, the
And
other
Aka,
thing as
I
well,
just said
there's
this.
too many residential areas around that stadium as well. So
Yeah.
they won't
Yeah.
allow you to make a big like concert around there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
No, they won't. They won't. And
So-
this is the thing now. This is the thing now. We talked about the stadium. Even if you have a plan, all of us can make a plan, but do we have something to go off on? We don't have nothing.
No, but
We
Benji, we may not have nothing now, but this is what I need you to deep, Benji. If they can't build a stadium, they're ruined.
That's
Do you
what
understand what I'm saying? But they will not allow themselves to be ruined because they are business people. They will make sure they make money out of
Yeah.
Chelsea. So that stadium,
The brown envelopes,
will
they'll be flying
happen.
around. That stadium will get built 100%.
That
The council
stadium
will be
will-
paid off. People will be paid off. That stadium is going to be built.
players may be sold. We may be 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, flirting with relegation. That stadium will be built.
In 3 years' time, we'll be playing at Craven Cottage, 15th
Bro,
in the league, and then
that
We're gonna
stadium
enjoy
has
it.
to happen because their biggest plan out of all of this is to build a new stadium for revenue. This is why I'm saying that these guys, there's a method to their madness. There's a reason why they're buying so many youth players, because there will come a point where we will not buy a single player anymore in the
that's
transfer
why they're
window
trying to fast track
because,
everything. Fast
Yeah.
track the multi-club
And
model,
this is
fast track the
why-
because
stadium.
they will not have the money to do that, because they
Yeah.
would have spent a lot of money on building that stadium.
Exactly.
We have seen Arsenal do this. We have
Yeah.
seen when they built the Emirates, they went through several windows where they didn't do much transfer business. But what did they do? What did Arsenal do? Do you guys remember?
At
They
that
sold.
stadium.
They sold their best players
Yeah.
to keep
Oh, yeah.
bringing in money.
Yeah.
Because you got to be able to pay off that stadium, and you got to be able to make money out of that stadium.
Exactly.
Ultimately, it's all about the money. Now, here's the thing though. Arsenal had a manager that was capable of getting some level of good out of a ordinary squad until it became really good, and then it got stripped off again. Where players left like Nasri and Van Persie and Adebayor and so on and so forth. Our issue at the moment, this is why I said earlier on to Constantine, we need to, these owners need to land on a particular manager that's going to be able to do a miracle for these guys.
Yeah.
A luck. They
Yeah.
need to fall on a manager that's going to be lucky for them. Because
But even what's the definition of lucky? Is it just top four? or
Yeah,
Europa
yeah,
League? Because it's not even competing for a title. Like, that's never
we
going to
don't
happen.
care about Constantine. These owners don't care about the competing. It's not about competing. It's
Listen,
just about
guys,
revenue, bro.
trophies is out the
It's about
window.
revenue. It's just
Trophies is
about the
out the
revenue.
window. It's all about the cash. It's all about the paper.
Yeah.
Just think about money. That's how we should
Yeah.
think from now on forward. Don't even think
That's
about
what I'm
trophies
saying.
because we ain't
This is what
winning
I'm saying.
trophies.
This is what I'm saying. Like, it's not about winning the trophy, you know. It's not
So
about
if we're
competing.
not winning now, then how are we going to win when we actually do start building the stadium and we have to fund that?
No,
We
that's
don't
that's
need
We're not
what
going
I'm
to sell
saying.
anyone.
Like,
Listen, we
that's
don't
what
need to
I'm saying.
win.
Then we're
Yeah.
finished.
That's the thing. These owners don't want to win. They want
of
to
course,
bring
yeah,
in
yeah.
that revenue, and if we win, that's just a bonus.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying, that it's a good point, Constantine. What you're trying to say is that if we do move into the new stadium, you still do need to get to a certain level. You're right. But this is where my theory comes in, that you just need to keep flipping managers, because right now Pochettino is not the guy to get anywhere near as close as possible to get anything out of this mob of players. Now, you may say no manager will get that. Well, they will need to pray
Well,
that a manager out there does that. They just
yeah.
need to have
But
to
then
pray.
even them flipping managers, that will just decrease their reputation more and more because their
It
reputation is in the mud already.
It
So
will. This is why I said
I
Chelsea
don't think
entered
they
the
care
dark
about
ages.
I don't think they care about how they look, to be honest, innit? But
They
I mean, it's
don't
just
care.
to go back to the Wenger thing, innit? I hated this idea that you kept saying that we have to get lucky, because I want us to be prepared, innit? But I think you're right. But I think also the reason why I don't believe that there's a single manager who can win Chelsea trophies, yeah, is because like I think we're asking them to find not a generational manager, but like a GOAT level manager. You know what I mean? Like a manager who's like a
A
Klopp,
high
who's
achiever.
like
High
a high
achiever.
achiever, like a Pep, like a, because if you get these ordinary managers like a De Zerbi or like a whatever Thomas Frank, we're gonna be right here. We're gonna be mid-table. This is where we belong now, isn't it? So, but you're gonna have to fight, and we don't have what it takes to attract like
yeah, that's what I was
who's
going to
that guy?
say.
Yeah, who's that guy who does Atletico Madrid? We don't have what it takes to
Simeone.
attract him. He's
Simeone.
not coming here, innit? So we're gonna need to get really lucky and find an unknown guy who somehow is an amazing generational manager and could do something with these owners, because these owners have no intention of changing their plan, changing their
No, they
model,
will not
doing
change. They will not
anything.
change.
They won't change.
More than you
So
can believe. More than you can
yeah,
believe.
so
They'll
that's
not
the
change.
only way like we will win trophies. Because if they're not going to change, we're just going to be this club. We are a mid-table club.
I promise you. This time next year, we're going to
One.
have the same conversation in 10th or
But
9th place.
I'll even go
100%.
I'll even go one step further, Constantine. This time next season, we are going to be in deep trouble with deduction of points.
Oh boy. Oh,
And even now,
boy.
they're
I'll
trying to
even
blame
go
that on
that much.
Roman, about Roman's dealings. Oh, Roman is why
True,
we're going to
true.
get
Maybe that's
deducted
blamed
points.
on Roman, but
That's just so stupid. Like really, like they're trying to blame
man.
deals like the Willian deal. If that was true, this ain't it's BS. If the Willian, dodgy stuff was true, then why was Willian doing a medical at Tottenham? Or was that all part of the plan? So
Yeah.
apparently Willian's agent was getting payments months before his Chelsea transfer, but then why was he doing a medical at Spurs? It's just these like we're going to get in more trouble for spending $1 billion in 3 transfer windows and then having no European football to cover that than Roman making any payments to Hazard or Willian. Like it's just all going to take time for all that to come to
And
light.
apparently it's better for us not to even get European football, man. So like we are screwed, bro. Like oh my days.
I guess now I will slowly start wrapping things up, and I'll get a view from everyone in the live chat as well. How can we make the most out of what we have? Let's talk about that. What can we do with what we have? How can we make do with this and get some level of success? We'll go with start with DOF. Brother, are you still there? DOF is on silent. He's just left. I think he might have gone. I'll go to Aka first, and then we'll go to Constantine and Benji. What can we do for the time being, Aka, bro? Like, I mean, with whatever we have, what can we do?
Me personally, I'm gonna keep this nice and short. I don't believe in this team. I don't believe in this manager. There's nothing that can be done. That's my answer, innit? Like we're here now, innit? This is where we are. We're not going like this. Yeah, we're done.
We're done. We're done. Nah, I hear you, bro. I hear what you mean. Benji, what can we do? Or are we finito? You there, Benji?
Might be gone as
Benji's on
well.
mute as well. Benji's on mute as well. Constantine, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
So yeah, I was gonna say, what can we do? Like, where do we go? Can this be somewhat salvaged to a certain degree?
No, just the simple answer is no. The squad isn't good enough after spending $1 billion, and we don't have enough money to rectify the squad. The model is not going to change. The owners, they're sad about making money. There's nothing really that can be done unless the fans protest. And even me, I have a ticket to the Leeds game. I'm not even going. I can't bother to go to the Leeds game.
Wow.
Just to get. I'm telling you, 99% we're not going through against Leeds. It's either going to be a draw and then we lose at Ellen Road, or we're losing the first leg. Because after playing 120 minutes on Sunday, the players
We'll
are
be
shattered
shattered.
mentally, physically. It's done. Leeds are a very, very good team. Very good team.
They're damn
They're not
good
going to
team,
come
man.
like Middlesbrough. They're not going to come like Middlesbrough and sit back. There's no way. They're going to come and
No,
attack.
no.
They're going to play their football, play attacking
They're
football. They're
good
going to catch
team.
us on the break.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're
They've
even
got some-
scouting Somerville from Leeds. Apparently, Winstanley likes Somerville,
Yeah.
so apparently, we're scouting him.
Yeah.
So it'll be a nice scouting mission for the directors. And then there's not really much to hope. The only hope is we can get maybe someone like a Mourinho in the summer that can change. Because if we get Mourinho, then that's when the model will change, because he's not gonna put up with this stuff.
Yeah, he's not going to put up with this stuff, and this is why I think Mourinho is not going to come. He's not.
But the
gonna
only
be
hope
able
I
to-
have in getting Mourinho, which is potentially realistic, is the fact it can be similar to the Lampard situation, where Lampard came back. The owners did it as a type of PR, mending of
Let's
the
get the
fans.
fans on the side. Let's get the fans on our side.
on board. So that's the only hope I have in getting Mourinho. Where if we finish 11th and then we get smacked up against Leeds and we just filter out, then they say, you know what, let's get Mourinho, let's get the fans back on side. That's the only way. But apart from that, if you get me a De Zerbi or Thomas Frank, we're going to be exactly in the same position next season, because there's not enough money to overhaul the squad. There's not enough money to make any significant changes. We'll get 1 or 2 players. We'll get Anton Robinson from Fulham, maybe get Victor Gyökeres, and then that's it. And then we're done.
True talk. True talk. DOF, brother, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. I was just saying that, is there any way of salvaging anything from this season at all? We've obviously talked about a lot of issues, but this is what we have now. These are the owners. By the way, I can hear myself from DOF. There you go. It's sorted now. So yeah, owners are not going anywhere. Directors are only going to get empowered more. Players are not going anywhere for the time being. Pochettino definitely is not going anywhere for the time being. Can we salvage anything, DOF, this season?
Well, it depends on what you mean by salvage, to be honest.
Better than where we are right now.
Maybe if we get a 9th or an 8th, just maybe. That's the best I can see. Of course, with FA Cup, I share the same sentiment as Constantine. I don't see us beating Leeds. It's a possibility, but I don't see it happening, to be honest. So let's see where that takes us. And from what I read from Simon Phillips recently, Poch was almost going to be sacked against Wolves. Sorry, after the game against Wolves. But as you know, since it's a consortium, all of them must sign up. All of them must approve.
Yeah.
So one of them, I don't know who it is or who it was. One of them was ready to get him out of the job, but all of them couldn't agree at the time.
Agree. Yeah.
So let's see. But for now, maybe 9th or 8th. Again, we are not winning the FA Cup for sure. That one I'm sure of.
Yeah, no, FA Cup, even if we do get past Leeds, which is probably going to be quite tough, we are going to eventually get knocked out by someone who's a heavyweight, and then that'll be the end of us. Kevin K, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Mudryk convo. Before we wrap up, please. Yes, of course. Let's talk a little bit about Mudryk and then we wrap up. We'll go with Constantine and we'll do the rounds. Constantine, what do we do with Mudryk, man?
Man, what do we with Mudryk? For me, I probably have a little bit more insight. I'm actually Ukrainian, so when people say, "Oh, like people watching Mudryk in the Ukrainian league," I was probably like the 1% that was, because I actually have like the channels and stuff in my house that show Ukrainian football. I follow the young players, so I knew about Mudryk before he came to Chelsea and before he was in the link with Arsenal or Brentford or whatever.
Yeah,
and with Mudryk, it's a interesting case because the raw talent is definitely there, but even when I was watching Mudryk at Shakhtar, my thought process for him was go to maybe like a PSV Eindhoven, go to Ajax, go to a Dortmund, go to a Leipzig, go to a Frankfurt for like 25 million euros, 30 million euros max. Let's see how you develop there for 2 or 3 years, and then go to a bigger club potentially if you do develop. The jump from him from Shakhtar to Chelsea was just too big of a jump. And the character that he is as well, just him as a person, his personality, he's not that type of person that will thrive in an uncomfortable environment where there's turmoil going on, where there's pressure from the fans, where he's getting criticized. I think even De Zerbi mentioned it in a press conference. He's a very sensitive character, very introverted. He doesn't thrive under negative circumstances. Like he thrives where it's a good place to be, where people are doing well, the team's doing well, and then potentially he can develop and thrive. That's why I think if he went to Arsenal, he would be doing a lot better than he's doing right now at Chelsea.
Far better settled environment in Arsenal.
Yeah, we have so many young players that have the same, personality as him, where they need personal development. They need to be focused on specifically. And there's a team full of young players, so the coach or the coaches, the manager, they can't focus specifically on Mudryk to develop because there's so many young players. There's just a preference. The whole squad is young, so we can't put extra emphasis on Mudryk. So when the team is underperforming, when everyone's underperforming, when he's getting 10 minutes, 20 minutes here and there, then there's no way for him to develop. Me personally, I'll cut my losses. I don't care if he's Ukrainian. He's not good enough for Chelsea. He's not a Premier League player at the moment. Even Mudryk at his peak, when I was watching him at Shakhtar, if you want my honest opinion, I think the best he could be is someone maybe like an Andre Schürrle, where he's just a good level winger, that can potentially do something for a couple of seasons, and then that's it. He's never going to be a world-class player. He's never going to be a major player in Europe. He's going to be just a player off the bench for a good level team, and that's him at his peak.
Wow.
Because the main thing about Mudryk as well, his football IQ is not there, and that's something that you can't coach or develop. Football IQ, you either have it or you don't have it. If you don't have football IQ, people still treat Mudryk like he's 18, 19. This guy's
24.
So, 23, 24. So if you don't have football IQ at 23, 24, then I'm sorry, then you're done. We need to, in my opinion, I would cut our losses on Mudryk. I would cut our losses on Madueke. The wingers, especially, is such a pivotal point in our team that's not been at war, that has to be addressed in the summer. People talk about a striker.
Yeah.
The wingers are disgraceful. Noni, Mudryk, Sterling is definitely gone.
That's a big financial problem, man. Mudryk.
You had the CEO, Jurasek, saying we need to cut the operating cost by 80 million. Sterling is the biggest earner at the club, so he's definitely gone in the summer.
He's going for sure.
We need that. We need, me personally, in a realistic sense, I would promote Hutchinson and Angelo as backup wingers, third and fourth choice, and then I would sign 2 starters, if obviously the finances allow. I would sign 2 starters. I would sell Mudryk. I don't care. We need to cut our losses. We can't be pursuing with Mudryk. We can't be pursuing with Madueke. Cut our losses. Sign 2 certified wings on the left and right, and then have Hutchinson and Angelo Gabriel as the backups. Mudryk, he's not good enough, nor is Noni.
I don't think we're going to cut our losses on Mudryk, man. It's just too much of a loss, and financial fair play issues looming. It's going to be so detrimental.
But we can't have a player in our squad
I picture him perhaps going on a loan then, if that's going to be the case. We're going to have to loan him out and hope and pray.
But he's never going to be good enough for Chelsea. This is where the sporting directors, their intuition has to come in. Like to spot this player isn't good enough. Let's just cut our losses and then let's just move on. You can't keep holding on to something because we're holding on to so many players in the squad that are not good enough. Jackson, I don't think he will be sold in the summer, but next summer he might be sold. But we can already see he's not good enough. Just cut losses. Jackson was meant to go to Bournemouth 6 months ago before we signed him.
But you see all these cutting out losses that you've lined up. These losses are racking up, bro.
But there's no other way. Either we cut our losses and reinvest, or we stay with this mid-level squad that's going to get us 10th. Because a front three or front four of Jackson, Sterling, Mudryk, and Madueke, that's not even good enough to get the Conference League.
Oh my god,
Do you know,
that's disgusting.
I don't know
That's
if you
disgusting.
saw this, and I'll go to Aka now. I don't know, Aka, if you saw this. Yesterday, I saw a tweet saying that apparently some of the Chelsea hierarchies were thinking that Mudryk was going to be player of the season, and they're quite astonished that, or they're upset that Poch has not been able to do that. Do you understand? Like Constantine saying in one hand that this guy is not going to be anywhere near that level of a player, is going to be sort of like a bench at best. There are people at Chelsea who are believing that he was going to be player of the season.
I mean, it's like, in football, sometimes there's moments where I think I'm crazy, yeah. Like, when Tuchel was putting Ruben Loftus-Cheek at right back, I thought, am I crazy for not understanding why? And it's the same thing with Mudryk. I'm just, how can you watch this guy and rate him? I just don't understand it. I'm sorry. Like, I remember before we bought him, yeah, there were people talking about that game that he got a standing ovation for with Real Madrid. I watched that game and I was just looking at it and I was thinking, I've seen Callum Hudson-Odoi do this. I've seen Pulisic do this. Like, this is not
That
even
game, that game, he only got a standing ovation because it was the time when the war started. So that's why they were it was more like a political thing rather than
that
him
makes more
doing good
sense
on the
then,
pitch.
'cause
Yeah.
I was watching the game. I was like, this is just a average game. And then, he comes to Chelsea and fam, with Timo Werner, it took me like 5 games and I hated this guy straight away. You see Mudryk, after that Liverpool game, I've never hated a player so much, you see some of the way these Chelsea stands, yeah, they ride out for these guys. And I'm thinking, but why? Like, why? And this whole season, I'm just trying to see why. Like, why do people like Mudryk, rate him? Why? I don't understand. And then people, talk about Madueke and all this. I think Con said it perfectly, man. All our wingers are awful. Every single winger we have sucks. Sterling is the best one in it, but he's highly inconsistent. The others don't even have what it takes to ever reach the levels that they can't even reach an average level of Chelsea player, bro. These men suck in it. Like, we need to cut our losses and get rid of them in it. Like, it was an awful, terrible buy, man. Madueke, I don't want to talk about Madueke, but Madueke, where did it come from? Was it PSV, I think?
PSV,
Yeah.
PSV.
Oh my goodness gracious, bruv! What?
Hey,
Why?
Aka.
I never even
Aka,
heard
can
of
you
Madueke,
actually
to be
believe
honest.
we went to the Netherlands, Holland, and brought the wrong player? We should have brought Kudus, and we brought
Goodness,
Madueke.
yeah.
Can you actually believe we went to the Netherlands and brought Madueke instead of Kudus?
It's
We are actually
mental.
tapped, man.
And the thing that pisses me off so much about Mudryk, yeah? I don't know if you lot remember, we were linked with Liao, and it was 100 mil, 120, 100, whatever. We were linked with him, and there was whatever going on. We threw all of that away to just jump on the Mudryk train and buy him. And I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, well, you better be better than what I think Liao is. And he's not even nowhere near. So that's even like more reason for me why I'm so angry and have this much venom for Mudryk, bro. Because it's all the other players, even Madueke, all the other wingers we could have had. Olise, man. We could have Olise. I don't care if Olise is injured. I don't care. He's better than what we have, man. Injured or not. If he's got one leg, he's better than Madueke, bro. Like, it's actually disgraceful, some of the players we have at this club, man. I can't believe it. Anyway, I don't know if you.
It's not his fault about the transfer fee, because Brentford bidded 25 million for him in September, and then in 6 months he didn't do anything to increase his value to what we paid for him. So it was a bidding war: Chelsea, Arsenal, and even that transfer, particularly for Mudryk, that was just Boehly and the owners trying to show, we're the biggest guys in town. Arsenal were top of the top of the league at the time. They were flying. Mudryk was their transfer target, the number one target. They think, we're gonna outdo you. We're gonna sign this player without any thought process. How's this player gonna fit in? is he good enough for what we're doing? There was no thought process about that. It was just, oh, we're going to outdo Arsenal. If Arsenal were never in for Mudryk and it was just Brentford, I don't think that we would have signed Mudryk. It was just the fact that Arsenal were in for him, and we were trying to show our chest in the transfer market with the new owners.
Let's be real. Mudryk is political, and that's a flex. That's what it is. That's simply what it is.
I also wouldn't kind of put the hate towards Mudryk. I mean, at the end of the day, it's our owners that really paid for him, so they way overpaid. However, he is on an 8-year contract, and if we could not take a big financial hit when it comes to him, because if we loan him out with every year a 5 to 10 mil loan fee, it's probably going to be closer to 5, for example. If we get those loan fees, and over the 8 years, that way we can spread and kind of not take a big financial hit, especially if they cover majority of his wages, the team that will take him on a loan. And through those loans, if he ends up coming good, he's still going to be probably on another 5 years left, you know? So he does have the time. And we same thing with Noni Madueke. Madueke works better because we did get him for a much cheaper price. But so even through the loan system, if we kind of put these wingers through the loan with other clubs, they'll at the end of the day, they'll end up making money for us. Even though the fee seems quite high, but we can't forget that it's 8 years. They're on 8-year contracts. So those loan fees, if they don't end up working out, they can end up paying for the player themselves. And it would essentially either make us a bit of profit or we wouldn't take that hit. So
JC, you're bang on. I think this is probably what's going to happen with Mudryk. You know, I think he's going to go on out alone.
If they end up coming good, then that's better for us. You know,
and do you know why it's more reasonable to think he's going to go out on a loan? Is what you just said. You banged on about that. His wages are low, so his wages are going to be attractive for people that want to loan and negotiate with us by saying, let's go 50-50. We'll go 50-50 on the wages.
Would take Mudryk in a heartbeat, especially for the Bundesliga as a backup. What's 5 mil, 6 mil, 7, 8 mil to them? Nothing.
That's nothing.
Because I think Mudryk's on 97k per week, right? He's less than 100. He's about 97.
Yeah, it's a little bit less than 100k.
So if a Bundesliga team come in and go, look, Chelsea, you pay 50%, we pay 50%. That's peanuts for them to pay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and for us, that's a year. So that year of amortization, that's actually a profit for us.
Exactly.
Yeah, a year of amortization. And don't forget, there's always some sort of loan fee involved. So even if we can make, I don't know, 2 million from that loan fee for that particular season, it's all business.
But who's actually going to be held accountable for that transfer, though? Like, that's so much money wasted. Who's going to be held accountable? Like, we can't accept 2 million and then...
I think that was Boehly that ended up doing that transfer of Mudryk. So Boehly ain't gonna sack himself; he's our owner.
Just sack himself, man.
So there's no accountability. There's going to be zero accountability. He will not be sold. I'll tell you this much: these owners will not take a single loss in their books. They will not.
The thing with Mudryk as well, he doesn't help himself off the pitch as well. Like, his self-awareness is just lacking. I think not even his football IQ, his general IQ isn't very good. Because his self-awareness
I lost interest in Mudryk. I lost interest in Mudryk as soon as I saw those shenanigans of him filming butt crack. Honestly, I lost full interest on this player.
Even me, I want him to do well because, you know, he comes from my country and I want him to do well. And I know how hard it is as well to come from Ukraine and to make it is very difficult because there's so much corruption, even as a footballer, to get through academies is very corrupt. If your parents aren't rich and they don't pay the coaches, it's hard to even get through an academy. So the fact that he's come from a poor background in Ukraine and he's made something of himself, he should have a lot more self-awareness. So they're posting bum cracks, giving out bets, 10K, I'll play me 10K one-on-one. Like, bro, remember who you are. You've come from nothing. You've come from nothing. You got 8-year contract at Chelsea. You're a millionaire now. Like, have some sense.
And Mudryk is also one of those odd kind of talents where he can explode or he could be absolutely excuse my language, like playing in League 2, you know. So his talent is very, I wouldn't, for example, be a type of owner that would invest in that type of talent because he could go either way. Like, you see the raw, pure talent that he is. However, kind of he's very, very similar. I don't want to break because he's such a great player, but very close to Mo Salah. when we got him from Basel, it was very, very close. Like nobody thought
he was
this guy was gonna
raw.
explode.
You're right. He was
And then
very
a move
raw. Salah was raw.
Fiorentina was before he got to us, and how Mo Salah, I was would perceive it, even with speaking time, higher talent or higher ceiling than Mo Salah was at the time when we had him. So he could go either way, and it kind of his IQ is not fully there, I would say, or not fully developed. However, he needs a type of coach that tells him what to do, when to do it. He needs a great tactician, not somebody that will just give him freedom. Because if you give Mudryk freedom, he's not
He's
going
been,
to
here
do
for, he's been here for a year now. He's been here for a year, and there's been zero improvement. So
and not just that, Constantine. Like, you're just not going to get Chelsea Football Club to do that. Chelsea Football Club is not that club who will give you every instructions, like when to run, what to do. That's, you got to be doing that. As I think Constantine, you mentioned this, that he should have gone from Shakhtar to a Ajax to a PS to a Dortmund, to one of these clubs next up, as opposed to Chelsea. You got to come with some level of integrity when you come to Chelsea Football Club. So, Rakuto, thank you.
Yeah, I think a great coach can also kind of release that talent. I mean, Arteta would have been a pretty good one for him to go to, and I think that's why he wanted it, because he sees the talent and being able to kind of give those instructions and not let him think, but let him just act on like his instinct. It's kind of like Sterling in a way, It's kind of like Sterling in that way. Like if you give Sterling time to be on his own, he's gonna mess up. He needs somebody who fully coaches him, tells him what he needs to do, when he needs to make a run. Otherwise, he's just gonna be lost. He's gonna be like a lost puppy in the team if he doesn't get that. So you got to get in the right coach, not Pep. Definitely not Pep.
Rakutso, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Do you think the problem is we always go outside the Prem to buy attackers?
No.
I mean, it's not been a problem before. We've bought quite a lot of good attackers outside of the Prem. I don't think that's necessarily it. It's about, making sure you get the right type of attack. Like, for example, when we ended up getting Cole Palmer, I don't think anyone expected us to get Cole Palmer, but no one said Cole Palmer was a bad player. I think we all knew the level of player that Cole Palmer was. Obviously, he's really, really overachieved, I feel. I think his talent was evident when he was in Man City, what type of a player he was turning out to be. So we need that type of, scouting. We need where like no one knew. I don't know about you guys. I didn't know about Nicholas Jackson, for instance. I did not know about Nicholas Jackson. I did not know about Madueke. I did not know about Mudryk, right? I definitely knew about Enzo Fernandez. I knew about Caicedo. I knew about Cole Palmer. I knew about Nkunku. Because these players, you could see, I definitely knew about Malo Gusto. These players, you can tell, no, there is something about them. There is something about them. But those ones that I mentioned earlier on, I had no idea who those players were. And, they've kind of vindicated that they're not really Chelsea level, are they? So I'll even throw in Buddy Shield. I didn't watch Monaco like that. I couldn't be bothered. I didn't, even Desassi. I'll even throw in Desassi there as well. I know in recent times Desassi's done well, no problems, but one or two matches here and there doing well, I need to see a whole season of you doing well, a whole season. So
his performance in the final just subtracted everything that he done well. So it's
it
just
was rubbish
for him.
It was rubbish. It was so bad.
Everybody was
so bad. Everyone was rubbish.
I swear to God, he was Bambi on ice.
Yeah, real, and I've seen Desassi like that previously as well this season. So
I just wanted to say something about Palmer real quickly. Is that all right? Yeah. I think
go on, bro.
Someone like Palmer. Yeah, I think someone like Palmer, he should make us Chelsea fans understand what we need from players. There's so many negatives and so many things wrong with Chelsea, and this is this and this is that. This player needs that. This player needs more time. This, that, the other. You just look at Palmer, and he's just come in and he's been good. like from day one. And he's obviously had, peaks and troughs where he's gone up and down a little bit in his form, and he's, missed a couple chances, had some bad games here and there. But overall, like, I don't think you would hear a Chelsea fan like have negatives to say about him, and it's because of how he's performed in it. So I
It's the
think, like,
consistency.
yeah. So I understand, like, you need the manager to do this, set this up right for these players, and da. But Cole Palmer's manager is also Pochettino. So if he can play like that, I'm pretty sure other players, take a little bit more responsibility on your own performance as well, in it, and just up it all together, in it, because everything is wrong. But if there's players like Palmer who do exist, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm going to counter you with that. The reason why Cole Palmer, for example, is because Joe Shields knew him personally the same way as he knew Phil Foden. And when it comes to players like Body Shield, Disasi, we use literally metrics and like statistics, but there lies the problem. You can't tell mentality. You can't tell how a player normally reacts.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't tell their injury, how injury prone they're going to be. If you're just looking at videos and statistics, they don't show you that. They show you how many correct jumps that he made, how many runs that he made, but it doesn't show you like what exact profile of player he is when it comes to the more side that really matters, the mentality, in my opinion. You can work hard and get those statistics up, but if you don't have the mentality, eventually you're going to fold. And that's where our main problem is in scouting.
Ladies and gentlemen, time extended. Check this out. Fabrizio Romano just tweeted out, Christopher Nkunku undergoing medical assessment as Chelsea report confirms.
Yeah, he felt discomfort. He felt discomfort in his knee and his thigh.
Oh my goodness me!
He was meant to change our season, no?
He was meant to be the savior.
Some people's bodies just cannot keep up with the Premier League. It really is that. Like, in the
honestly,
Bundesliga, he might have been okay, but the Premier League is way, way more intense. And the fitness will show up on a league like the Premier League.
They should just shut him down for the season.
Yeah, injuries will ruin your career if you have them enough.
Yeah, just shut him down for the season. There's no point.
Do you know what? I'm not even gonna. I wish Alhambra was here. Honestly, Alhambra's always good with these. What do you call it? Conspiracy theory. I'm gonna throw out a conspiracy theory out there, and I could be hated for it. I could be called that I'm negative. I could be called that Miz, you're doing too much here.
We love a conspiracy. Come on, give it to us.
Am I mad to think Christopher Nkunku might have just seen what's going on around him and just said, "F it, I'm just gonna act like I'm injured"? Because what's he getting injured for?
Well, I would say
we've not even utilized him.
Yeah, there's got to be scans done to show that injury. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's gonna be fraud. Like you're collecting money and acted injured.
He could say, "I'm just feeling a bit of niggles."
There's two issues. One is the fact I think our medical staff in general, just by our injury record, is not good enough because the owners sacked all of the medical staff and brought in their own staff. I don't think. Yeah, we still have medical staff that were brought in, and they treat like celebrity injuries and all of these things. They're not even sports physiotherapists; they're just general celebrity doctors or whatever. But not even that. I think even in the recovery period, I think mentally is a big thing as well. So if the team is performing and challenging, I think mentally it helps you recover as well. Yeah, I want to get on the pitch. I want to do well. I want to, show myself. I want to recover quickly. And I think mentally it helps your recovery a lot as well. But if you're coming back from a big injury and the team is underperforming, they're losing finals, we're in 10th place, and you think, why am I going to join in this whole mess? Let me just take my time. Let me just not work as hard in recovery. I think that also plays a big part. Because
honestly, Constantine. Constantine. Am I mad to think like that? Like
to kind of calm down your nerves on that, Miz. I'll tell you, I would give it more thought or worry if the injuries were more concentrated on Nkunku alone. But our team is just getting destroyed.
Exactly.
Lavia played 30 minutes and he's out now for another 2-3 months. So if it was concentrated on Nkunku, then that'd be maybe the suspicion should arise. So to ease your nerves a little bit when it comes to that,
I mean, unless this guy, I don't know what training we did after the Liverpool game. I don't know whether he picked up an injury during that Liverpool game in the Carabao Cup, because
I think it's
Nkunku
kind of like a
really.
like the Domino's fall. He picked up that injury, and his body. I don't know if it's going to be his running style, but to kind of make up for not, for example, like a hamstring, to make up for that hamstring, you end up injuring your other hamstring because of the way you're moving or the way you're running to compensate for the other injury that you had. So it could be
Okay.
something like that keeps happening throughout different parts of his body to compensate his prior injury.
But with Nkunku, he's not even started any games for us. We've been very careful with him. So how's he injured again?
Yeah.
We've been
That's
so
what I'm
careful with
saying.
him.
Like I said, the
He's
That's what I'm
injured again.
saying.
intensity of
I
the
won't be surprised
Bundesliga
if
and the
we.
Premier League is way different.
I won't be surprised if we actually sell him in the summer, because we can actually get our money back. Because even Nkunku, he's going to be 27 at the end of the year. This is his prime years, and he's actually a very talented player. I won't be surprised if he speaks to his agent and just say, "Listen, just get me out of here," because
No,
he's not a young player. He's 27. He's
no,
27
no, 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 no.
at the end of the year. He's not going to want to spend his prime years at Chelsea. He should
Nothing
be.
nothing is too unbelievable. I will not say anyone's
If
takes unbelievable anymore.
if
Like,
PSG
honestly,
or
anything
Bayern
is
Munich
possible.
come in, if PSG or Bayern Munich come in the summer and say, "Here's 60 million for Nkunku or 70 million,"
He's a
taking it.
food for thought. He's a food for thought for the panels, right? For the panelists. He's a food for thought, right? Do you think Nkunku, he's looking at all of this and thinking, my God,
what
like,
have I done?
oh, I'm never going to play for France again. I'm like, I can't, firstly, I can't start. I don't start games. Secondly, when I do start, I play as a striker or a false nine where I'm literally left alone with these big defenders. I don't seem to have too much support. I'm looking at a team that has no structure under Pochettino. I'm looking at a defense that is leaky. I'm looking at a midfield that doesn't seem to control. If I'm Nkunku, how am I feeling? Am I feeling lovely jubbly?
Yeah, his stocks are all
Oh,
the way
you're
down
regretting your
because,
move. I'm sure he's regretting his move 100%.
because he missed the World Cup with injury, and now the Euros. I very much doubt he's going to get picked for the Euros for the France squad, because
absolutely, yeah.
he just has no game
But-
time. So he's going to miss 2 major tournaments for his country, and he's going to be 27 soon. So he's in his prime.
I don't
years.
want to say it's Nkunku's fault, innit? Because it's not your fault when you get injured, yeah. But
Of
this
course,
guy
of course.
hasn't kicked a ball for Chelsea, bruv. So how could he be looking at it thinking, "Oh, did I make a mistake coming here?" He's done absolutely nothing to
Nothing.
help us all season. He's
Mm.
done nothing to help Chelsea all season.
I don't
Do you know
think
how
he's made 20
entitled?
passes the whole year for the team, to be honest. I highly
Yeah,
doubt
do you know
he's
how
made 20.
entitled it would be
completed
for
passes.
someone like him? It would be so entitled for someone like him to be like, "I'm too good to be here," when we haven't seen you do anything. We ain't seen you do
But
nothing, bro.
Aka, you're coming from an angle that's logical. That's thinking the world is very, very logical place to be in. You're not thinking from Nkunku's point of view, who is a superstar, who is a well-known figure in world football, who's feeling that I don't want to associate myself with a loser club. Like, I want to associate myself with a club that's doing well, that's in the Champions League, that's pushing for titles, and I rather be in that environment. I hear what you mean. Like, at the end of the day, you're injured, brother. Like, it's not our fault that you're injured. You're injured because of you. Unless, I don't know whether these recent injuries after his post one is it because of Pochettino's training sessions. I don't know. Because the same players seem to keep getting injured. The same players.
Exactly.
Lavia, Nkunku,
Where's
Badiashile,
Kane? Where's
Good
Kane?
Chukwu.
Ugochukwu.
He's meant to be out for like 3 weeks. It's been like 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, Kani Chukwuemeka was there for a little while. Now he's in this list, well and truly.
Bro,
Although
this
you can
guy
believe,
just disappeared.
continue to undergo rehabilitation. Look at the names here. It's always the same names over and over again.
Yeah. What
know
did
what I
Mark
mean?
Cucurella get injured with, by the way? Because I don't even know.
It was his toe.
Yes.
He did surgery for his toe
Yeah,
or his
surgery
ankle
for
or
his toe.
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's recovering from that. So he should be back within like the end of.
What happened to Kani Chukwuemeka? Wasn't he like recently there as a
idea.
substitute? What
No,
happened to him?
apparently it's the I think it was the hamstrings again. discomfort or something. I don't know.
How many times has Kani Chukwuemeka been injured this season?
Twice. At the
Yeah, I think
start
he
of
got
the
that
season
one
against
big one.
West Ham, and then he came back, and then I think it was after the Aston Villa game when he was supposed to come on, but he didn't come on. After that game, he got injured. He got injured
Yeah.
again.
Okay.
Wow.
Nkunku is actually an injury-prone player. However, something is still not adding up in the medical department of Chelsea. Something is certainly not adding up. 100%.
Yeah.
Bro, as I said, man, I'm putting the
diligence when it comes to literally when the scouting and getting these players in. There, you can't look at statistics and just statistics. I mean, I hate going back to this, but you have to do your due diligence on the specific player, and they don't do it. I mean, if you're just watching videos of how a player plays, how are you going to find out exactly how his whole history is going to be? I think that's literally it, honestly.
And Nkunku and Lavia, how much was their total fees altogether? Like, what, 120, 130 million?
110
Lavia
million,
had injury record. I think he was injured when we bought him.
So there's over 100 million
he was injured when we bought him.
I mean, think about it. He's 19 and has this much injury at 19.
No, he wasn't injured.
What do you think he's going to be like at 28, 26?
Who are we talking about? Are we talking about Nkunku or
Lavia?
Oh, Lavia.
No, Lavia was playing when we bought him.
Yeah, I
He
think
was playing. He got injured when he came to Chelsea. He got injured when he came to Chelsea. That's the funny part, bro. This guy just took one step.
So where did he get injured? In the training sessions?
Yeah, it was the training session because someone from the academy tackled him too hard, and that's when the injury started.
No, that was the second time he came injured. No, he came injured.
That was the first time.
And then he got recovered and came back. Yeah. But when we bought him from Southampton, he had injury, and then he got injured again once he started training with us.
Yeah, I think JC's right. I think JC's right.
He was playing at Southampton.
Yeah, we bought him injured.
I think we did buy him injured.
Did we?
We did. Yeah, I think so.
I remember him playing in Southampton pre-season.
I remember it was match rusty. Because of no preseason and all of that. But maybe he had a bit of injury when he joined.
Yeah, it might be possible.
Yeah, Haji's saying as well. He came injured. Mayank is also.
When we bought Lavia, 100%, he was injured, and then he recovered, came back to training, and picked up
again.
Yeah, I think JC, you're
recovered from
that.
Played 30 minutes, and then he got injured in that 30 minutes somehow. I have no idea how he got injured in that 30 minutes, but he did.
So you telling me this season, since August, this guy has been injured like 3 times already at his age?
Yeah,
that is crazy, man.
Yeah. This is what I mean. Like some of these players, I don't think they're gonna see a career. You know, they will not see a career.
Don't forget I'm getting worried about as well.
I'm really wondering what we're gonna do in the summer, because if all this financial stuff, the Mudriks and the Maduekes, who is going, who's coming in, I'm really interested to see how this, like, I don't know if it's July 31st or if it's June 30th. I don't know. But it's going to be very interesting to see who is sell from this first team and who we keep from this first team, because we can't say this all year, man. But next season is a must. We said this season, but
next season is a must. What
we kind of screwed, but next season it's really a must, because we're gonna get that 6 to 10 point
Benji, next season is a must. What, bro? Must what?
Top 10.
No. It's a must. It's a must finish just above. Can we even say we won Champions League? Should we just say
you can't even convince yourself, Benji, bro? You can't even convince yourself.
No, but that's a quick. Can we even say we won Champions League? Should we just say just give us Conference League?
Nah, be for real.
They're not getting Champions League next season.
You can forget about Champions League for us.
I think Constantine's right. I think next season top 10.
Forget about it, man.
Yeah. Top 10.
I mean, top 10 probably need an improvement.
That's crazy.
Bro, top 10 will be an improvement. Top 10 is an improvement.
It depends on who's in charge again. So let's see. It depends on who. It depends on who's going to be in charge. So maybe
Gary O'Neill took over Wolves like a few days before their first game of the season with no transfers, and he's above us. Gary O'Neill with that average
is the
Wolves team.
madness,
They're
bro.
above us.
This is the madness.
This is how
Because as
shit
you
we are.
as you explained, giving Poch a mandate to finish in European sports, and then at the same time, in fact, flooding the team with youth, you can see that the reality is inconsistent with the vision.
But I don't get that. And if we talked about this like before the rest of the guys came in. How can you cook a meal without ingredients? Like I don't get it. Like how can you make pasta bolognese without pasta? You're just making
100%.
bolognese. Like how can you bake without flour? Like I don't like how. Like I don't get it. Like yes, I know these players, but some positions I'm like sometimes I just look at this team and I'm like these owners did Poch dirty, man, because we want
But
to
the thing
win,
is,
but we did him really really dirty, and I'm
but
not
with
even
Poch as well,
surprised.
with Poch, he doesn't help himself with
Look
his
at it this way:
comments, with the way he
taking
sets the
pasta
team.
bolognese. Look at this way: they're just making ramen bolognese instead. They're not buying the real pasta.
But even the chef who's making the
Yeah.
pasta, he's a bottle job from Spurs. Like he can't expect nothing. We've seen who Poch is. Like we can't.
Okay, but
Even though the
Constantine-
ingredients are wrong, even Poch himself, he's a rubbish chef. So
okay,
he's,
but okay.
he's gonna cook you rotten scallops.
I
Constantine.
agree with that.
Okay, Constantine. If I tell you this, under Roman, if we got Poch, would we be this shit? That's my
No,
only
but
question.
Roman would have never got Poch in the first place. Like that's not
the
even
thing. That's
something
the
to even
thing.
think about.
Roman would never
average
even
fair
squad
consider
enough,
wouldn't
Poch.
be
fair enough.
filthy.
Never.
Our average squad wouldn't be 14 either if under Roman.
Yeah, that's the
At
other.
Roman, there was a base
He
level.
was
We would
once,
never.
yeah.
At Roman, there was a base level. We would never fall under. There was just a base level. So as soon as we went under the base level, there
You're
was
gone.
an instant change.
You're
With
gone.
Lampard,
Yeah, well,
with
Lampard was
before Tuchel came in,
when
we were like
Lampard
6th or 7th, and then made the change.
yeah when Lampard was ninth, I believe he got sacked,
Yeah,
right?
ninth.
He was ninth. So
Yeah.
there was a standard that you can't go down like below that level.
And
So
each time Roman made a change, there was instant success,
Instant
right? So
impact.
even with
yeah, it was instant
AVB,
impact.
even though Di Matteo wasn't really like a long-term manager, but there was an instant impact. We won the Champions League. With Lampard, when he got sacked, we won the Champions League. Like every time Roman made a critical decision, it was a benefit for the club. And he wasn't afraid to say, I made a mistake. That's the thing. It's fine to make mistakes because Roman, he wasn't perfect. He made mistakes, but he wasn't
I'll
afraid
tell
to
you
say,
this.
I made a mistake.
I'll tell you this much: under Roman, obviously Potter and all of these people would not even be hired. But let's just say, for argument's sake, they were hired. Under Roman, Potter would have got sacked 5 times over. 5 times.
Yeah.
The first
and
3
then-
months, this guy's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's straight away. He would have been
3
gone.
months.
He would have.
This guy's
He
gone.
might have got hired, but then he would have been gone straight away because Roman doesn't dwell too long. He knows if he's made a mistake, that's it. Let me rectify that mistake immediately.
Scolari was sacked in November, was it? Felipe Scolari.
Yeah,
November,
yeah.
December.
I don't even
Scolari-
think he saw 6 months. Scolari didn't
Scolari-
have 6
And then he was,
This guy.
and then
this
we
guy
won the
Scolari's
FA
not
Cup
even
with him.
Potter's level.
For a half a year.
Scolari is miles ahead of Potter, is miles ahead of Pochettino, based on what he's won, and he got fired in 6 months.
less than, bro. Less than 6
AVB
months.
AVB with all the success in Porto, he got fired as well. Ancelotti got so I don't get the
Ancelotti
standards.
got
are
fired
just
It
there.
was the
Chicken.
weirdest one of all time. All time. We came second, and Roman was like, "Nah, man, you ain't cut up for it." We stacked him in the tunnel against
in the
Everton.
tunnel. In the tunnel.
Against Everton
No.
in the tunnel. I was like, "What?"
But then the next
Roman-
season, we won the Champions League. So it kind of worked out.
Exactly. That's the
It all
bad part.
vindicated. Roman was like, coming second is just like coming 20th. So it don't mean nothing.
Roman
If you're
saw
not
things
coming first,
we couldn't see.
Facts.
yeah.
Roman saw things
If
that
you're
we
not-
couldn't see. He was like,
For
yeah.
Roman, if you're not coming first, then you're pretty
It's
much
a shambles.
relegated. Yeah,
It's a
you're
shambles.
Look
relegated.
at the standards though. Second, you're still a loser, and our owners say, "Well, the data says we should be around the 5th and the 10th, 8th spot, or whatever it was." Those are just the standards. It comes from the owners.
But where is
Like,
this?
Well, yeah.
Like,
Where
bro,
is
who
this data?
cares if our statistics say or SG says we should be 5th? Like, why does that matter? That's not even a Champions League spot. Like, what are you bragging about?
Guys,
Like,
what
what
the
is there?
flip do we
What,
expect?
The question is,
Yo,
Like,
they're
what do
that
you
mean. Where,
what do you
what's
really
the flights,
expect
bro?
when you hire people from Brighton and Monaco to run and Southampton to run the club? Of course, you're gonna get mediocrity. We all been saying this from day one when we saw all of this. We saw all of this. We were like, bro, like, what you doing? Like, we are gonna get mediocrity.
They should have bought Brighton.
Exactly, man. They should have bought Brighton, and they could have. They wouldn't have needed to spend $1 billion to do all of that, and they could have done the same thing they're doing here with Brighton. In fact,
With
that's
Brighton.
exactly what Brighton's doing
Exactly.
anyway.
And Graham
Um,
Potter would have been there for
We
10
gave Brighton-
Graham Potter would have been there. Graham
Brighton
Potter
like
would never be
130.
needed
Win
to
Stanley
be
would have been
to
there.
sacked.
Paul Win
You know?
Stanley would have been there. All of the people we hired from Brighton would have just been ready-made, tailor-made for them. My question is, where is this data when they are measuring fans' happiness? Why is why is the data being subjective? Like it only applies to a few things. Why is it not being applied to fans' happiness, fans' satisfaction, injury records?
Stamford Bridge will be full
I
of
just, I
fun.
just think they
Stamford
don't
Bridge will
have
be
the
full if we
AI
gave
cameras.
regardless.
I just think they don't
fans'
have the AI
happiness don't
cameras
bring
in the
no
stadiums yet.
fans' happiness don't bring no revenue to the football club, bro.
Did you see the news that a ticket behind Poch's dugout on Sunday sold for £5,000? So who bought those tickets?
Wow.
Who bought those tickets? Not fans.
Nice, bro.
You say
Bro, I don't-
5,000?
Yeah, it was on
Yeah,
social media.
You gotta
5,000
be, I'm
pounds.
not gonna lie. I mean, I love our team, but you gotta be a clown to spend $5,000 to see this
Yeah, bro.
get dismantled
Yeah,
by
man.
Like,
what?
like,
The under
I
12s of
understand.
Liverpool. The under 12s of Liverpool destroyed our first team. Gotta be some kind of clown to pay 5 Gs for that.
Bro, spot on. Like,
And
I would
more,
really, I
and
would
more,
really understand if we were like top of the league, like we're smashing everyone, and then we just raise the tickets, like just behind, the coaching staff. I
But
really get that.
even top half of the table. I mean, we were 11th
That's
at
the
that point.
thing.
Wolves had just won.
Bro, we're 11th. Like, bro, be humble. Like, bro, chill on.
so by the time we move,
Know what they're doing. They're just delusional. Honestly, it's like hiring a bad manager, not knowing what they're doing. You're gonna see everyone's gonna go down there the way they perform. So that's what we're getting from the owners, Bad management, no idea what they're doing. They're hiring some Australian coach for a mentality. Like what they did this last year. What did that accomplish? The guy left with his tail between his legs, and we never knew he had left.
I didn't even
CJ,
know. I
one
was
second,
still
one
talking
second.
about
that
this
is,
earlier
though?
in the show.
The problem, the thing is, they don't know how to build like a squad mentality themselves. So they're literally trying to like outsource it. It's kind of like if I can't do a project or my team doesn't have the resources or the understanding to do it, I'm going to outsource it from another company. That's literally what they're doing. Like they're winging it. The perfect word is they're winging it.
Bro, my club is a joke. First of all, look at Matt Law, then look at POS.
This is something that Hudge just shared. Obviously, this
was last year.
Posted a long time ago. I think this is when we were just saying that Roman would not even consider Poch. Obviously, Matt Law said that it's probably also worth referencing the fact that Roman Abramovich twice looked into hiring Pochettino. Once the timing wasn't right for Poch, and once the timing wasn't right for Chelsea. I'm pretty sure. Look, where I kind of have doubts is when I see this line. Once the timing wasn't right for Poch, when is the timing not right for Poch to leave Spurs and join Chelsea under Roman Abramovich? That kind of door doesn't keep knocking every day of the week. So if Poch ever did get approached by Roman Abramovich, the timing is always right. The timing is always right.
That is just propaganda. That's just
propaganda.
Of course.
So
don't forget,
tell me,
this is the same Matt Law that said that Rudiger was bullying the young players during Lampard's time. So
and I think
we need to take everything he says with a pinch of salt, because I don't believe this guy. He's a fraud.
And you guys would all remember when I saw that news about Rudiger, I was so irate. He was trying to blame everything on Rudiger, and not a single
plays
thing.
like Hudson-Odoi and Tammy Abraham coming out saying that Rudiger, he's like a big uncle to us. He's like a father figure. He's so helpful with the young players. And then you had Matt Law coming out and say, "Oh, he's bullying the young players." Like, that's so not in his character. Like,
look, I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe Roman did approach Poch, but if he did approach Poch, you best believe Poch then becomes Chelsea manager. I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, Roman approached someone and he never landed that person. No,
Or even
I
if
don't
he did
believe
approach Poch, I'm sure he was probably like 4th or 5th choice. I don't think Poch would ever be top of the list. It was like
Yeah.
just maybe feelers.
I never heard any of this back then that he was top of our list. But anyway, people, it's nearly midnight for me. I need to sleep and wake up nice and early for work. It's always been a pleasure to have you guys in the panel. Today has been fantastic. Over 325 people live right now. Smash the like button. We've gone on for 3 hours, but it's been fantastic conversation. I think these type of members calling, like it's brilliant, man. It just opens up the mind and it opens up all of our discussions to next level. So thank you to each and every one of you guys. We'll do another one of these very, very soon. But for now, we will start focusing on the Leeds game. And yeah, I'll catch you guys very, very soon. Until next time, everyone. Take
big
care
up everybody.
and
Care.
catch you later.
All right, guys. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.
Big up.
Take care, guys.